The horror.
What the hell do you do?
And never in my life have I ever walked up to a restaurant and said, hey, before I start my meal, can I just have 10 flour tortillas? I just want to chomp on those real quick.
Right.
But I for sure have had 40 tortilla chips.
Well, the math is right.
I mean, if you think about a tortilla chip, that equals 10 flour tortillas.
Which, if you ate 10 flour tortillas, you'd be so full. Now with chips and salsa.
No,
they're magic.
They are magic.
Now, here are the guys.
Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. Yeah, don't do the math if you're at a Mexican restaurant. That's where you get into trouble. If you're eating tortilla chips, just enjoy the chips, enjoy the ride, because once you start going, okay, for every 4 tortilla chips I just ate is 1 tortilla.
Yeah, you ruined my life yesterday.
Yeah, so if you're a salsa fan, you like a picante salsa, and you're just sucking it down and you're just eating chips, you lose track, and then all of a sudden, by the end of it, you're down to the crumbs in the bag. Like, you've probably had 20 tortillas. So, look, that's life in the fast lane, guys. That's the level of service
still the topic
you're going to receive when you listen to the destination for Padres information.
That's right.
I swear, last night as I was going to bed, I started thinking about it again. I was like, oh, what Rich said makes so much sense now. And I've thought about times in my life where I've eaten an entire family size bag of tortilla chips. That's probably 25 tortillas.
Just sit down and you're just like, I'll tell you what, I've got about 30 grams of salt running through my blood right now. And I could go for another bag.
Right. Like Super Bowl parties. I mean, I just am downing queso, salsa, guacamole.
I was ordering groceries online just to do the pickup. You pull into the spot, they bring the groceries to you, and I was buying some chips.
Yeah.
And as I was buying them, I was thinking, well, okay, hold on. This must be a fun size bag. It says 8 ounces. That can't be right. Well, that's like the giant bag.
Yeah. They now
8 ounces.
They now measure it by weight of chips instead of by ounce size of the bag. I agree with you. It confused me when online shopping began. I did this same exact thing. This was years ago, and I was just like, I think they're going to send us a teeny tiny little bag. And it turns out it's a giant bag of chips.
Big bag of chips.
Yeah. Listen, we are talking about chips because we don't want to talk about the Padres. So we'll talk about a different type of chip. How about an NBA championship? The Larry O'Brien comes back to Boston.
When the chips were down.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Were they ever? They lost that one game 4, to the Dallas Mavericks, where everybody was like, oh, my God, Dallas is so good. Did they figure out Boston in time? And in my brain, I'm thinking, pump the brakes, because Boston's very good. We've seen this before, and you guys heard me talking about it yesterday. You guys were chiming in like, this is going to be a very difficult task with Boston hosting Dallas, especially how the series went when the series was in Boston. And sure enough, the Celtics, they're done playing with their food. It was time to eat.
Right.
And they absolutely dominated Dallas.
Yeah, there was no point of that game yesterday that it was competitive.
No.
I mean, that was a gimme.
That was a gimme. It kind of felt like a 3-foot putt at the U.S. Open. All you got to do is just tap it in.
Tap it in.
Send it on home.
Just send it home. The
None
ball
of those
wants to go home, Rory. The ball wants to go home.
None of those 5 games really were close at the end, which is a bummer when you think about NBA Finals history, when you think about some of the Kobe Bryant moments or some of the Kyrie Irving moments in those series between the Cavs and the Warriors. None of these 5 games had any real drama in the last 20 seconds of them.
Yeah,
and that sucks.
Fourth quarter, where it's dice, you don't know who's going to win. You're right. The fourth quarters were determined. And don't get me wrong. I mean, Dallas put up a decent fight in some of those wins for the Celtics, where
only 2 of the 5 games were decided by less than 10 points, and they were both 8.
Right. I'm saying though, maybe in game 2. It was where Dallas got within a point and then Boston just pulled away again. But yeah, to your point though, down the stretch, down the wire, there was no opportunity for, photo finishes or last second shots or really important inbound plays or timeouts or the last 2 minutes really mattering. It just never did, because one team was a clear winner, whether it was Dallas in game 4 or really the Celtics for the 4 of the 5 games, including last night, where they blew the doors off of Dallas. I mean, offensively, they just shrunk. They faded. And then, Jaylen Brown, obvious MVP choice. Jason Tatum plays big in the final game to close out the series. That really takes an albatross from around his neck. He was called a choke artist for years now because he's gotten them to the Eastern Conference Finals. I forget how many times now over the course of his career. He's been to the playoffs constantly as this team leader in most of the statistical categories, but he just couldn't get that finals victory, and they finally do. 18th championship for the Boston Celtics. Speaking of Jason Tatum, so post-game, when the microphone finally found its way over to the Boston Celtics star, this is what he had to say.
Oh my God. It's a surreal feeling. We did it. We did it!
No. Does that sound eerily reminiscent to KG back in the Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett days?
I'm so hyped right now. Anything's possible. Anything's possible!
So it was lame then.
Yeah, exactly.
It's still lame, buddy.
It's lamer now.
Yeah.
That what was weird is when the Celtics won, even before that, I wasn't really feeling good about it. I mean, I felt like they were going to win. I felt like they were the best team in the league. Hats off to them. But
It's the Celtics.
It's the Celtics.
I think pretty much everyone in the country outside of people that live in Boston feel the same way.
Yeah, it's a little stomach turning.
Yeah, and Jonathan Rifkin, who's going to be unbearable on the Darren Smith show today.
That's what I was going to say is at least Boston fans in general, they don't say a lot.
Dude, yeah, quiet group,
right?
Quiet group, reserved. Right. Trust me, I played for the Patriots.
Yeah.
Good folk who just want to go out, support their team, and not really be heard of or seen of after that point.
By the way, I'm not a Maverick fan, all Celtics fans, when you tell me how much better they are than everyone else. So it doesn't matter to me. But Jason, let me know.
Jason Tatum has kind of had the ire of the internet throughout this entire finals and throughout the entire postseason, really. I remember last week I was telling you guys that the NBA Twitter was just going after him, everyone going on to Instagram and reporting him as a fake NBA player. And it was very funny. But he did not help himself last night. And he had a redeemable moment. It was right after they won. The confetti's falling down. His son comes up to him and they give a big hug as the confetti comes down and the camera gets a close-up. And it's a beautiful moment. And then he does the Kevin Garnett thing, and everybody rolls their eyes.
Yeah. And
then they get to the post-game celebration, which is a big deal. Rich, you were on a team that lost the Super Bowl, and you had a crazy party. Imagine if it would have been the team that won the Super Bowl.
Dude, yeah.
It's huge.
And you're getting ready to go celebrate with your teammates. You're in your home city. Wherever they're going next is going to be a banger. They'll probably have live musical acts. All the families will be invited. They're going to party into the late hours of this evening. And then, by the way, they're planning the parade route in Boston as we speak. Like, there's so many fun things ahead. But before I go, maybe just one more line to really set off Twitter. Let me just feed the geese one more time so that if everybody is saying nice things about me, they'll have some ammunition. So here goes this.
I know everybody will wonder what would happen if we didn't win. I guess we'll never know.
Some people can't help themselves.
Does that sound familiar to you guys?
Well, yeah. It sounds a little something like this.
I know he's gonna wild out and he's gonna do something crazy. Everybody wants to know what I would do if I didn't win. I guess we'll never know.
Kanye West at the Grammys.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you want to add a cherry on top of this whole thing?
Yeah.
As soon as Jason Tatum won and they were clearing the court, he ran back to the locker room before the rest of his teammates so he could grab the Larry O'Brien trophy and recreate the famous image of Kobe Bryant hugging the Larry O'Brien trophy. 3 for 3, baby.
It just keeps getting worse.
God.
Good Lord.
I don't know what the right way to win a championship is. I really don't. But I think Jason Tatum did it wrong.
Just be you.
Yeah.
Just be you.
Yeah.
You don't need to be everyone else or whatever caricature you've painted of yourself in your mind. So now you're going to try to recreate it. It's a goof. It's dumb. It takes away from the championship.
It's an SNL skit.
Yeah.
It feels like you're pretending. Look, that's the thing, that it just smacks of inauthenticity. It smacks of something being contrived. and something being overthought. It's like good editing makes a great movie, because sometimes it's word efficiency, sometimes it's no words, sometimes it's just music overlapping, a sequence of scenes that are shot on a camera. When you bog down a movie with dialogue, sometimes it can absolutely ruin a movie. Even if you feel like, wow, this is a really salient plot point for this character, and my goodness, if we don't have it in here, the movie isn't going to fully describe this character. And it's really important to me as a director or writer. And it's like, yeah, but you know what? They're the third lead and we only have an hour and a half of people's attention. So we're going to cut all that. It's right. Like, you got to know where to make the edits. Jason Tatum has no clue. And by the way, I think it's because he's had way too much time to think about this. I'm a Jason Tatum fan. I know it's difficult to say that after we've just listened to all that, and you just described the fact that he ran into the locker room to recreate the Kobe picture with the Larry O'Brien trophy.
Even do a good job of it.
No.
Like, the picture felt forced. He was like, it was a wrong angle. Like, he could have done it better.
Yeah, I mean, and that's
if you're gonna do it, do it.
So I just feel like he's had way too much time to think about it, and he's been wanting it for so long and so badly that he had all these big plans. And it's sort of like when you give the kid like an opportunity to like, have a little freedom the first time. Like if you have young kids and all of a sudden you say, hey, I'm going to give you a little rope here. I'm going to let you go and do what you think you should do with making mom breakfast today. And then you walk back into the kitchen and they've made, I don't know, a butter sculpture of one of their parents and cracked eggs all over the floor. You're like, you know what, maybe I gave you a little too much freedom a little too quickly. Like he had all these great ideas, but he ended up with eggshells all over the place.
I wish he only spoke in movie quotes. That would have been better for me. Yeah, during the interview. Hello, Jason, whatever.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
Yeah, you had me at hello. How do you feel about being at these championships? I'll be back.
Yeah. Hey, what do you think is the next move for Boston with their contract negotiations? Show me the money. Like I look, I like him. I think he's a great player. I think Jaylen Brown and him, they come off as arrogant sometimes and maybe a little too canned and trite. But I think overall they're good people, and I think they're good ambassadors for the league. They're great players. But gosh, some people make it hard to really love them. Well, you just heard it there. It was an absolute blowout win for the Celtics over the Mavericks last night. 106-88 was that the final? Goodness gracious.
I think so.
Yeah, that was a biggie. The 2024 finals go to Boston for a record-setting 18th time. In doing so, the Celtics passed their forever rivals, the LA Lakers, for the most titles in NBA history. And Tatum played well. We were just talking about him. 31 points, 8 rebounds, 11 assists. Jaylen Brown, who won.
I guess we'll never know.
We never will. We never will. Jaylen Brown wins the MVP, 21-point performance, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. Moving on to the NFL. Brandon Ayuk, star receiver for the 49ers, added more intrigue to the stalemate with San Francisco in a post to TikTok yesterday, much to the chagrin of our producer, third voice of the show, Ben Fletcher, not too pleased with this.
I'm pretty sure you said it was fine several times.
FaceTiming with his former teammate from ASU, Washington Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels, rather. He said, they don't want me back. So
we do.
It's unclear what he meant by that. We'll really kind of,
I want you back.
We'll pick this apart later on. We're going to save it because, we don't want to blow it all at once. And we want to bottle up some of this emotion that Fletch has in a steel cage over here, and we'll set him free later. But how about this? After getting swept over the weekend, the Padres visited Philadelphia, and that was a 9-2 drubbing. There were no Padres highlights, so I'll give you a couple on the Phillies side. Kyle Schwarber smacked 2 home runs. That was great. And then their pitcher, Christopher Sanchez, my goodness, held the Padres to 2 runs over 7 innings. So
Wait,
the
no Padres highlights? Did you listen to Mike Schultz post-game press conference? It was
did
a defensive gem that the Padres played. There were highlights all over the field. Manny Machado
gem.
ran hard to first base. It was highlights everywhere, Richie, for the Padres.
Ran
Just
hard
listen to
to
Mike Schultz.
The only positive about that game is there's a game today. That's
Right.
it. There was absolutely nothing positive that could be said about the game. They have first pitch at 3:40 from Philadelphia today. Michael King on the mound. That is the only positive, is that we can turn the page on that one and move on.
How about this? The offense doubled their output from the previous 2 games with 2 runs.
Well, okay. You know what? Turn that frown upside down.
Hey, pretty good.
Turns out.
Wait, is that right? I thought they scored like 6 on Sunday.
Oh, maybe they did.
Yeah, the first two games
they
of the
scored
Mets
1.
series.
You're
Yeah, that's
right.
true,
You're
yeah.
right.
They got,
because they did like 4 runs in
Right.
the 8th.
Yeah.
Not enough, though.
Not enough. The Mets were able to overcome that, and the Phillies made light work of the Padres. Here's the deal. Look, the Phillies are the best team in the National League. The Padres are very much so not, but they're still in the thick of the race for the playoffs. Look, we can start really squinting and talking about playoff or not playoff, because there are going to be teams that are getting ready to be sellers at the deadline. By the way, one of the teams that are probably going to be sellers at the deadline are the New York Mets, who just swept them. So not a good look for the Padres. By the way, another team who's awful this season, who also swept them, the Anaheim Angels of Los Angeles County. That was another bad one. It's this team who, by the way, also got swept by the Rockies, one of the worst teams in the NL West.
Wait,
It's this
it's
team
not really Los Angeles County, is it?
No.
Okay,
Absolutely.
it was just Los Angeles, right?
Angels of Anaheim.
I call them
that's what it is.
I
yeah.
call them the Anaheim Angels of the greater Los Angeles County area, the region specifically in Southern California that is definitely Los Angeles, definitely not Anaheim.
I get it. I've mixed up the name so many times that I couldn't remember, and I thought, wait, did they throw county in there?
No.
And is like the sky falling right now, because the Padres are actually a half game out of playoff contention currently.
No.
They're only 2 games out of 500. That pendulum can swing
So,
back quickly.
I would play the Mike Schultz sound, but it's 5 minutes long. When somebody asked him, how'd you feel about the team's effort today? And he went on a 5-minute, all positive, by the way.
I listened to every word of it, and it was
Padre fans are sick of the shtick.
Look, again, I'm trying my hardest, and they make it difficult, because this is a better team than they were last year. And Mike Schultz may be one of the reasons for it. I mean, attitudinally, this team feels different than they did last year, whereas last year's team felt like they really, really rolled over at times. This team hasn't felt that way. Now, I will say there are moments here where it's not being stated. The obvious isn't being stated, but it feels like sometimes they lay down the sword. But we've seen it in other games where even when they're trailing by a bunch of runs, they storm back and they get wins, and they've done that. They've been gritty at times this season, and they're record-wise a better team, or have been more positive this season than they were last year. So there's a shift in the culture or the way I feel about this team, but they're still frustrating. I mean, if you're watching on a night in, night out basis like we are.
Well, it doesn't feel like last season where they just gave up. I don't feel like they're giving up. I just feel like they can't get any offense going some days. I mean, at all.
They lost 9-2, and the manager called it a defensive highlight reel.
Yeah, well,
He gave Manny Machado credit for a ball that he hit, in which he grounded into a double play in the 9th inning. And he was very positive about it.
I don't really understand Mike Schultz. He's and by the way, go figure. We don't know him at all. He was a St. Louis manager for a long time. That relationship ended because apparently the front office and him didn't see eye to eye on things. At least that was the report we got, the general public got. So he gets onboarded as a special advisor to the front office here in San Diego and spent the season last year in that role. And then all of a sudden you see these articles come out about, subterfuge and bad relationships in the front office. And all of a sudden Baumel is getting traded to a division rival, and the Padres, or just let go and allowed to sign with the division rival. And the Padres move Schultz from the front office down to the managerial role. Now, I'm not saying somebody got their job by talking bad about the former manager, but if you were going to start putting puzzle pieces together to make sense of what happened, I mean, whose camp was Schilt in? I bet you he wasn't singing the praises of Baumel into important members of the ownership group or front office's ears. I that's my guess. So I would say that Mike Schilt, I don't know him very well, but what we've seen from him publicly is this guy wants to cozy up next to his players. He wants them to trust him. He wants to say nice things to the media behind closed doors. Who knows? Maybe he is critical. Yeah, here it is. Jason Tatum. He's hugging the Larry O'Brien trophy we're watching on TV, and he's giving it a little smooch, and they're pouring beer on him, and they're having fun in the Boston Celtics locker room. It's tough, man. When every single camera in the world, it feels like, is on you, what do you do in that situation? I mean,
be authentic,
but
harder to do.
I mean, you've never been there. I've never been there. I don't know if I could either, but Jason Tatum wasn't.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Definitely not.
They
not,
lost
not
9-2, and the manager called it a defensive. Well, he literally said a defensive highlight reel.
Oh, yeah.
In a game that you lose 9-2.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that game could have been 27-2. All right. So they played.
Listen, I think it's very easy. It's the low hanging fruit.
I know
it's very easy. And trust me, I listen to a lot of sports talk radio in this town. I listen to a lot of podcasts about the Padres in this town. I read a lot of articles about this team in this town, as do we all. But here's the deal. Mike Schilt is managing a better team than the Padres were last year. And I'm not blaming Baumel completely for this. I blame the players last year. I'll blame the players again this year. But for all of the, I don't know. I don't want to even say attack, but for all the attention that Mike Schilt has gotten for not being a hard ass, well, what does that get you?
And I try to remind myself every day that my attention should be about what was on the field and not what Mike Schilt is saying after the fact,
really
because
cares?
Really it has no impact on what's happening on the field. But it pisses me off a little bit when you hear the manager come out and call a terrible game a really good game.
Well,
defensively.
At what point is he allowed to be pissed off about it?
He can do it whenever he wants. But by the way, last year we saw Baumel do it early in the season. I think it was after a Diamondbacks game that the Padres played where they played poorly, and he called out the team, and those results weren't good either. So Mike Schultz probably trying to walk the fine line and probably not trying to say a single thing negative about specifically Manny Machado, because he gives him over praise all the time, in which I think Manny Machado leads the National League in grounding into double plays. Last night, Mike Schilt talked about a ball that Manny Machado grounded into a double play is a really good at-bat.
Well, I think go ahead.
So I think he's trying to keep everyone happy and trying to keep the culture positive, which I do agree with you, Rich, that the culture has been more positive this year than it ever was at any point last year. So maybe Mike Schultz doing a good job, but it feels very inauthentic when he gets up there and talks about how positive a 9-2 loss is.
If I remember correctly, it feels like the first Baumel blow up, it actually did help him.
It was the year previous.
Oh, it was? That was the year prior?
Yeah, it spurred a kind of second half comeback to get them into the postseason.
Well, I think you get about 2 of those a season that'll make it work, and then they're not effective anymore. So when do you pull the first one?
Yeah.
Right now might be a good time.
I'm trying to keep the main thing. The Padres conversation, they're very much so in contention. They've weathered storms like these before. Many times already this season. This is kind of the identity of the Padres. They need to get their asses kicked around a little bit for them to fire off and get you a win streak and get yourselves back above 500. And we've seen this time and time again. So the pendulum's about to swing back positive. I promise you. It's what they've taught us all season long. We've watched it time and time again. I trust that just as much as I said before the weekend, the Padres are going to have a tough time with the Mets because it's been too positive for too long. And guess what? That premonition came true. So I promise you, unless something insane changes here, we're going to see the Padres start swinging back positive because that's what they've done all season long.
I agree with you. I think that's exactly what we'll see. The problem with the Padres is they get a few behind 500, and then when they get their asses kicked and they kick it into gear and string a bunch of wins together, they're only 1 or 2 above 500.
And it's what it's been all season long. So anybody out there who's thinking, wow, things look bleak, the Padres, will they ever win again? The answer is 100% they will, because this is what they've done all season long. Now,
but what if they don't?
But what if they do? You could say the same thing about it positively. I mean, we're at a point in the season where and trust me, I'm with you. It could swing really good from here.
This is a bad 10-game stretch to have a bad time.
It could swing really bad from here.
It's a bad 10-game stretch to be missing 2 of your starting pitchers.
But again, this is a team that even when they've been missing some of their stars, I mean, Bogarts have been MIA since the start of the season. They've had injuries to this pitching staff before. In fact, the two guys who are out, Darvish and Musgrove, both have been injured earlier in the season at the same time. Like, so we've seen this story, and guess what? They've beaten good teams. So I'm not going to overreact to a tough 4-game stretch with the Padres. I won't. And by the way, I'm not going to overreact to anything that a manager says. And this is no offense to Schilt. This is no offense to any other managers. Most of these guys are just wearing their team colors costume because managers don't do a whole lot anymore. They are given instructions from the front office and they say, hey, execute these plans and do a nice job for us and win World Series. And you will be our manager for a very long time, just like Dave Roberts. I mean, for years, everybody's like, well, he's a puppet of the front office. Well, the Dodgers have been good for a very long time. So he gets to keep his job.
Yeah.
So whether he's a puppet or not, he's considered a successful manager because he's had a winning record as a manager in LA. So we'll see. Look, you could get mad at Mike Schilt if you want. You're wasting your breath. Get mad at the players if you want to direct your ire in any direction. But even that, it's like, it feels like spitting into the wind. The only person it's going to affect is you.
There's a chance Mike Schilt wants you to get mad at him instead of the players.
Probably.
You know?
There's probably a method behind the
because
madness.
the conversation today, I think for the large part, when talking about Padres, is going to be talking about how ridiculous that post-game press conference was and not how ridiculous them losing 9-2 is.
By the way, blame Manny Machado for hitting into the double play. Like, because guess what, Manny?
Don't ever blame Manny.
Well, I think he leads the National League in double plays.
He's playing hurt. He's a new dad. You can make excuses for him, but Manny's been a liability with the bat in his hand for the majority of this season. So I don't know what to say about that other than, hey, buddy, you're getting paid a lot of money to be a very important part of this lineup. And for 2 seasons now, you haven't been a really important part of this lineup for the Padres. So
I think Manny was the only one with a couple hits yesterday, though.
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't know. I mean,
consistency.
Yeah.
All you want to see from Manny Machado is consistency. By the way, we got a pair of tickets to the Doobie Brothers today. We have a 4-pack of tickets coming up today to the San Diego County Fair. So if you're looking on having a little fun out there, we will supply it for you. Coming up next, you guys into any fringe sports? You know, I know you're into UFC. The TD, you're into
cornhole,
racing, cornhole.
Yeah, right.
Bill Belichick's really into cheerleading. And I mean really. Play the horns. You'll understand why coming up next.
Celebrate the return of the Global Citizen Festival on Saturday, September 28 in New York City's Central Park. The iconic one-day music festival brings together global citizens, artists, world leaders, corporate leaders, and philanthropists. This year featuring Post Malone, Doja Cat, and many more. It's hosted by Hugh Jackman. Join the global movement ending extreme poverty. Earn your ticket by downloading the Global Citizen app or visit globalcitizenfestival.com to start taking action. Check out Global Citizen Radio now on the iHeartRadio app. Defeat poverty, defend the planet, demand equity.
This update is presented by ExpressPros.com. We will start off here with the Boston Celtics, who are the 2024 NBA champions after beating the Mavericks 4-1. Jaylen Brown named the finals MVP. Padres have now lost 4 straight after losing to the Phillies yesterday 9-2. A couple more against the Phils over the next 2 days. Sticking with baseball, Dodger star Mookie Betts out 6 to 8 weeks with that broken hand that he suffered over the weekend, and Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final coming up tonight. Florida Panthers up 3-1 over the Edmonton Oilers. Let Express Employment Professionals help you hire for contract or full-time jobs. Forget about posting jobs, sifting through resumes and interviews with unqualified applicants. Go to expresspros.com to find the location near you. That's expresspros.com.
Yeah, play the horns.
Because we have giveaways?
No.
Oh.
Well, no, not yet.
We do have Doobie Brother tickets.
We do.
And we
78
do have
days, 17 hours, 23 minutes, and 24 seconds.
Yeah. Till what, in the next cheerleading competition?
No, till September 5th, 2024.
Hell
when the
yeah.
Chiefs take on the Ravens at Arrowhead
Yeah.
Stadium.
Down. It's pretty cool. Down with that. Meanwhile, Bill Belichick, there's been rumors
Yeah.
that he's been dating someone.
Yeah.
We don't know. There's also been weird rumors that he's been showing up at cheerleading competitions, and no one really knew why.
We know why now.
Yeah, we know why now. He's got himself a girlfriend who's 24 years old. Former cheerleader, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe she's a coach now.
What's her name? Jordan something?
Jordan Hudson. I guess she was Miss Hancock.
Okay.
That's a place.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, so
Yeah.
we read it in an editorial.
Yeah, that's correct.
That was something we read from an article on the internet.
Bill Belichick first met Jordan
Oh, God.
back in 2021, where he autographed her homework.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah. So
That's
listen,
not real. Is that real?
That's real.
that's written in the
That's written in an article.
Here, someone do fast math. 72 minus 24.
50 or no, 48.
58?
48. 48 years.
It's a 48-year age gap.
All right, you want to start if you start doing like subtraction, like when she was 12, he was 60, stuff like that.
Oh no, that makes it weirder.
Or whatever it is.
Oh, God.
It's so look, here's the deal.
This would be Bill Belichick showing up at my house because he's now dating Haley.
Oh yeah.
Oh, God.
Actually, I don't want to pantomime it because it's really gross. But what do you say to your daughter if she brings home the winningest football coach in the world?
I don't even know how I'd wrap my head around that.
Well, is it weird that would be better than just a different 72-year-old guy?
Well, no, I mean, not really. I mean, it's but I guess better in the sense that you go, well, I mean, I guess it's better than a dead broke idiot who works at the works bagging groceries. I mean, he's got how many rings between being an assistant coach and being the coach of the New England Patriots? Does he have 9?
Yeah, I think that's right.
9 Super Bowls.
He's got 6 titles, right?
So at least he would take care of your kid. But like,
here's the problem. Here's the problem.
Yeah, go ahead.
If your 24-year-old daughter brought home a 72-year-old man, that relationship does not revolve around their similarities.
Also,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
unless there's one similarity, they both like to participate in extracurricular activities. Apparently,
we're also making an assumption here that she has like a pretty strong relationship with her dad.
That's true.
Which I mean, maybe she does, maybe she doesn't. If I had a bet, I'm gonna go with doesn't. Look, here's the deal. Love is blind, and you guys have heard me say that before.
Watch the TV show.
Yeah, you love that show. I mean, they're in pods. I mean, somebody could be a 72-year-old retired head coach with, several titles to his name. I mean, that's possible. And then who knows, just based on voice and exchange of information and interest, maybe, in a pod scenario like the show we just described, he could fall in love with a 24-year-old and vice versa. I mean, that's not outside the realm of possibilities.
Could you imagine Bill Belichick in one of those, but he doesn't use his like fun, retired Bill Belichick voice. He uses his coach voice.
Oh God.
Like the one at the post-game press conferences.
I have 2 questions for you guys because unfortunately we don't have enough time to unpack all of this. So first question, how would you feel if all of a sudden we started seeing Bill release TikToks with his new 24-year-old? He becomes TikTok famous.
Now I like it a little more. Okay.
What about you, Fletch? All of a sudden on your For You page, you start scrolling and you see Bill doing the Tyla dance.
But it's like all really delayed, so it's stuff that was famous during COVID. So it's like, you know that one?
Yeah.
So yes or no?
Oh yeah, I'm in.
Okay, he's into Bill on TikTok. All right. How about this? What is the acceptable age gap? Like where's the cutoff?
I don't know. Except, well, I mean, I guess
48 years seems too much to me.
I don't know. I was going to say 48 years, probably right on the line for me. It's probably right on the line.
48, 49.
49,
49.
50 is pushing it, but okay, I can see.
It's weird at 50.
I mean, I hate to even bring Haley into this because we're all big fans of your daughter.
Thank you.
Imagine, like, you're 45.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Imagine if it was just like a 46-year-old she brought home.
Oh,
or say a 42-year-old. I mean, it's like all of it seems. But you know what though? Again, love is blind. People meet each other in the most unconventional
way.
Is blind. But yeah, of course it is.
You guys ever been to a cheerleading competition?
No,
never.
I've been to a lot.
Well, yeah, your daughter was in cheer.
Yeah.
How many 72-year-old former head coaches are there floating around?
And if they were there, I would think they'd get arrested.
No, zero there. Unless maybe grandpa shows up. I'm telling you, they're not fun to go to, so he must be in love.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so look, we're gonna move on from this story, which some could construe as gross. We're going to move on to our next storyline, sports related, also gross, not because of what somebody is dating, but because of what somebody is eating. Now, in terms of eating, if there's one thing that we know, Fletch was doing a lot of that. I mean, this guy, he would get to a buffet and literally they would start like as he was walking up, like from the host stand, you could see them start whispering to the waiters and waitresses, like, we're going to need more. We're going to need more. Fill up the General So's. Fill up the General So's. I repeat, he's on his way in. And like, you would see like Jurassic Park, like water shaking inside the restaurants, like boom, boom. The door would fly open and be like, I'm hungry. And then everybody was terrified. People were running. Ah! Anyways, that was the old Fletch. The new Fletch, skinny, handsome. This guy,
he barely can go through one family-sized bag of tortilla chips.
Dude, we did a nugget eating contest. The dude only had like a normal amount of nuggets.
Yeah, right.
The reason is his stomach shrank. His whole body shrank. The guy's down like 50 pounds.
Well, not his whole body.
Well, that's right. He kept it where it matters. Fletch, how did you do it?
It's so weird that the rundown here says weight loss Fletch.
What?
Like it's my turn to do an ad read.
Huh?
Because you guys just did
What?
like the whole read.
Wait, dude,
SDfatloss.com. Tell Big Rich TD and Fletch sent you. You save $200. I think that's it.
That's
all right.
Talk to Wade and Chloe. They were our weight loss team. They could be your weight loss team as well. They'll lay out a roadmap for the next 2 months of your life. You follow that roadmap, you're going to lose 20, 30, 40 pounds. That's
right.
what happened to all three of us.
Yeah.
Get on over to SDfatloss.com. Tell
So-
them Big Rich TD and Fletch sent you. Save $200.
So if you look foul and disgusting like Fletch did, go to sdfatloss.com. I think that's
Yeah. And you'll look great. All right.
Ad read done.
Boogers eaten on the pitch. That's coming up next.
Hey, Rich, you ever heard of the TalkBack mic?
Oh, the TalkBack mic on
Yeah.
the Free iHeart Radio app?
That's the one. That's the one. Yeah. If somebody wants to reach out to the show here, they can use the TalkBack mic on the free iHeartRadio app.
Nice.
Yeah. So while you're listening on the free iHeartRadio app, you'll see a little red button there on the screen. That's the TalkBack mic.
That's
Go
the
ahead
one.
and tap the TalkBack mic, send us a message, a shout out, a Yelp review, ask us a question, and we'll answer it. The TalkBack mic, only on the free, the TalkBack mic, iHeartRadio app. The TalkBack mic. Ow!
Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. Doobie Brothers tickets around the corner. Also, a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. Hot ticket this summer. A lot of fun up there at the Del Mar Fairgrounds. I was just up there. I was in the Del Mar area talking to a Little League team yesterday. A couple of All-Stars. Shout out to the Del Mar All-Star team. Looking forward to seeing if they end up advancing in the double elimination tournament they get going with on Sunday.
Is this Joe Moon?
No. One of our sales ladies, Laura, her son, Jax, plays for the Del Mar All-Stars. So I was talking to her kids' team and bunch of nice kids, really, really sharp kids. I mean, you know, when you're talking to I have an 8-year-old, when you're talking to young kids, a lot of times when you're talking to them, nobody's paying attention. Like all of them were like locked in. This is a focused bunch. So that was a lot of fun. You know who was really locked in? And I'm not a huge soccer fan, self-admitted. Everybody knows that. But occasionally a soccer highlight will hit the feed.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you guys saw this, but there's a Netherlands manager by the name of Ronald Koeman. I don't even know what team he coaches, but I do know he was hungry on the sideline.
He was sitting in the stands, I think. My internet's not working very well here, so I can't see the video. But I believe he was in the stands, and he just dug in the nose, knuckle deep.
So soccer has
gotcha.
They're almost like dugouts.
Yeah.
So they have those little covered areas because look, I mean, sometimes it's rainy.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
And if there's one thing I know about soccer stadiums, you need plenty of shade. Otherwise, The fans will not go.
That's
They
correct.
will not show
That's
up.
correct.
You need
and
to
they'll write about it online.
listen. You need to have shade in a stadium. I think we all can agree on that because there are no stadiums that are just open. That'd be ridiculous.
That's crazy.
You need to have at least an umbrella.
Yeah.
Anyways, so Coleman just chomping down on his own bugs. Like I'm talking.
Odd.
He knows he's about to walk out onto the field. You could tell. And so I guess he felt like there was a bat in the cave.
So he removed it.
When I tell you this guy, I mean, it was an effort in futility. That nose was leaking, and
Yeah.
he was. I mean, it was. Yeah, like where?
Why don't you just flick it?
Yeah,
Well,
man.
that's
Why do you gotta
that's
eat it?
gross. You to be on the ground.
You seen the Taylor Swift booger montage?
I did. See
Yeah,
this,
but where she's wiping snot off her face.
Yeah, where snot just keeps falling out of her
I
nose.
actually feel bad for her because she's in the middle of a show.
I mean, what do you do?
Yeah.
I mean, you guys, it's like, I mean, they've, I mean, like it's just like if you're in the backyard and you're like digging a trench and you kind of all of a sudden feel like, ooh, the Gatorade's not agreeing with me.
Feel that?
Do you go inside and just rest, or you just vomit and keep digging?
Gotta vom. Are you guys
Yeah.
snot rocket guys?
Yeah, on occasion I'll do that, especially when you hop out of the attic, got a bunch of stuff in there.
I'm going to tell you something really gross. And this is a true fact, and you can look it up. Do you know that eating your boogers like this guy Ronald Koeman's doing right here, it's actually a natural antibiotic?
What?
Look it up. I'm telling you. Google it right now.
Eating your? I don't know if I can. My internet's not working.
Yep.
Eating
Yep.
I was gonna
boogers.
say, is eating boogers good for you?
Antibiotic.
Yeah, it's a fact. I read it somewhere on the internet, so it's true.
There isn't much research on the potential health benefits of eating boogers, and some evidence suggests it could have negative effects.
Go ahead.
Eating boogers could expose your body to germs and bacteria such as the flu or common cold, especially if your hands are dirty. Scratching your nose to get boogers can also open it up to bacteria that lives under your fingernails, like a really big word that I don't know how to say. I'm going to try. Staphylococcus aureus.
All right, there it is.
Staph infection.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay.
Is staph
Well-
spelled S-T-A-P-H?
What was cool is he pulled out the booger,
Mhm.
jammed that thing in his mouth, and then walked out and shook hands with the with the opposing manager.
If you decide to eat your boogers instead of flicking it, it stands to reason that you're putting yourself at risk of infection because your body digests the booger. It can release those harmful pathogens that the boogers technically are, because that's what your nose does. It's a filter into your system.
Yeah.
Don't eat boogers.
Well,
That's what the internet says.
Well, that's strange because I remember specifically reading from the very same internet you're looking at, from a website, a periodical, an editorial that said eating your boogers is almost like, oh, wait, hang on a second.
Maybe it's because they might contain the flu, and getting a little bit of the flu is actually good for you.
Yeah, it was something
because
like
it
that.
protects you against the big form of the flu.
Exactly. It was like your nostril hair forms a filter. Obviously, you're not breathing everything in the mucal or whatever it is, the mucus layer membrane inside your nostrils that creates snot to protect the rest of your airway from that. But if you ingest your own boogers, you get a little taste of the flu.
Big Rich, TD, and Fletch.
Yeah, this-
you're home for Flu Insider Talk.
No.
Whoa,
This is your destination for Padres
Got it. Yeah,
information.
That's correct. That's correct. From Men's Health, why eating boogers may be good for you.
I knew it was somewhere
I'm
on the
gonna
internet.
Skip the boogers.
Wait, what?
What?
Whoa.
I'm just, you know what? I'll just chance it.
This is a long way to prove the point that Ronald Koeman, that guy's got a highly effective and efficient immune system. He's out there. And then, by the way, how kind of him sharing some of his immunity with other players in the handshake
Here's
line.
a good one. This is talking about the calorie intake of boogers. If you're worried about calorie intake, and who isn't, you'll be disgusted to know that a day's worth of swallowed snot is about 200 calories.
It's good. It's good.
So if you're real phlegmy,
Researchers at MIT said people should be eating their boogers and encouraging their children to follow suit. The reason, protecting your teeth. The study found that boogers contain salivatory mucins, which form a barrier on your teeth from bacteria that can cause cavities. Wow.
Be honest with you,
I
I
think
did
We should
not-
just eat bowls of it.
Yeah,
I
I
think
did.
I've done
Okay.
yeah, I'm out.
Yep. Now we got it. You've done it. Damn it.
Well,
I think I'm ready to go home, guys.
Yeah.
oh, come on. We still got 6 more hours of this.
Actually,
I know. We have more than that.
10. Anyways,
Yeah.
it's going to be great. Listen, coming up next, Major League Baseball has a huge problem. One of their best is doing the worst. We'll explain
Should
the
we eat some
scandal.
boogers and come back?
No,
over
stop
commercial
it.
break?
No, we're not doing that.
Here, I got some. You got some?
But you know what? I'm gonna check the vending machine.
Also, King Charles. Will we ever see him on TV again? We'll explain next.
This update is presented by RCP Block. We will begin with the Boston Celtics, who are the 2024 NBA champs. They beat the Mavericks 4-1. Jaylen Brown named the finals MVP. Padres have lost 4 straight after losing to the Phillies yesterday 9-2. A couple more against the Phils over the next 2 days. Sticking with baseball, Dodger star Mookie Betts out 6 to 8 weeks with that broken hand that he suffered over the weekend. And Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final coming up tonight. Panthers up 3-1 over the Oilers. Upgrade your yard with RCP Block, your number one source for hardscape and masonry supplies. RCP Block specializes in retaining walls, patio pavers, decorative rocks, and outdoor fire pits and fireplace kits. With 6 convenient locations around town, RCP makes hardscape easy.
It's Big Rich, TD, and Fletch.
Chips and salsa is the king of food for me.
You want to hear something funny? So salsa was served at the Father's Day meal.
Okay.
But there wasn't any tortilla chips on the table.
Oh, the horror.
What the hell do you do?
And never in my life have I ever walked up to a restaurant and said, hey, before I start my meal, can I just have 10 flour tortillas? I just want to chomp on those real quick.
Right.
But I for sure have had 40 tortilla chips.
Well, the math is right.
I mean, if you think about a tortilla chip, that equals 10 flour tortillas.
Which, if you ate 10 flour tortillas, you'd be so full. Not with chips and salsa.
No,
they're
whatever.
magic.
They are magic.
Now, here are the guys.
Big Rich, TD, and Fletch, San Diego Sports 760. Happy Tuesday to those who celebrate. So we're doing it. We're giving away Doobie Brothers tickets this hour. So if you're interested in a pair of tickets to see the Doobie Brothers coming up here soon in San Diego, I'm going back to look. Yeah, June 25th. Deets and seats at Ticketmaster.com. That show is going to be at North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. So if you want to go and take a buddy, take the wifey, maybe you want to give it to dad for a late Father's Day gift. You forgot about him. Doobie Brothers. Yeah, we're going to be giving away those tickets. Feeling good about that. Major League Baseball is not feeling good about this situation with one of their best umpires. So look, this whole betting scandal thing that is rocking all of the professional sports leagues, nobody's safe from it. Sports apps, look, betting or sports betting apps are available in a lot of states, and there are very specific rules that apparently have been explained to coaches, staff members, executives, front office people, players, umpires, referees, officials. Every single person involved has an understanding of what rules and what lines they have to color within if they're going to sports bet at all. And a lot of people are failing to meet the criteria, including Pat Hoberg. So Pat Hoberg is a home plate umpire. He's really good at his job, and that's rare to say with umpires because there's so many bad ones. But this guy's actually good. He's an eagle eye behind the plate. He's got whatever the percentage of balls and strikes that are correct. He calls a lot of them correct. And so, you would think like, okay, a guy like this, pretty sharp guy, pretty good at his job, wouldn't be scribbling outside the lines in terms of the rules and things like that. But unfortunately, they're going to discipline. Major League Baseball is going to have to discipline this umpire for betting on sports.
Well, he's appealing this.
Yeah.
And has anyone else appealed when they've been struck with one of these allegations?
Yeah.
They have. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels like the worst person you could have in a betting scandal would be your umpires or referees.
Yeah.
I mean, because those are the ones that could really sway the game. Now, they're not the superstars. They're not the Shohei Ohtani. So the spotlight, I don't think, is quite as bright. But man, oh man, if you are trying to keep, what's the word I'm looking for?
Integrity
of the game. Yeah. You don't want those guys.
Yeah, who was the basketball ref that got in all that? Was it Donahue?
Yeah.
I can't remember his first name. Tom Donahue, maybe, but he was the guy that got
Tim Donahue.
Tim Donahue.
You're right there.
Phil
yeah.
Donahue.
No, it's
Phil
not
Dunphy.
No.
Phil Dunphy?
Modern Family.
Phil Donahue?
No, Donahue was his last name. I know, but
Tim Donahue. He was collecting money on games that he was inappropriately calling. This way, he could make the outcomes match what his bets were.
And for years, that rocked the entirety
Sweet.
of the NBA. And like this situation with the umpire in Major League Baseball, we don't know exactly what he's in trouble for yet. We're assuming it's betting on something. But if he bet on baseball at all, that brings into question a lot of these terrible calls that we've seen year after year in Major League Baseball. And that might not be fair to do. I'm sure 99.9% of all umpires and referees and officials in football are all 100% clean. But if there's that 0.1%, that brings into question everything else. It's the guilty by association thing that you got the talk from when you were kids, right? If everyone was drinking and you're at the party, and even if you weren't drinking 100% sober, you're guilty by association.
Yeah, sometimes you get lumped into the group even if you're not involved. Look, Tucapita Marcano, the former Padres, former MLB player, now banned for life from the game for his recent involvement in a scandal where he was betting on games on the same team he played for. Like, you're not allowed to do that. Like, specifically listed, absolutely clear. If you do that via Rule 21 in the MLB Code of Conduct, you will be banned for life. And that's exactly what happened to Marcano. The specifics of the allegations against Hoberg were not made immediately clear. Again, Kaplan, who's a spokesperson for MLB, said the league could not provide any more details while the appeal is pending. I'm sure all this will tumble out in the coming days, weeks, months, however long the appeal process take. But Hoberg, who has not umpired a game since last year's postseason, didn't immediately respond to any messages sent his way either. You know, it's one of these interesting things. Actually, later he released a statement that said, I devoted my adult life to the profession of umpiring. I look forward to the appeal process. I'm grateful that Major League Baseball Umpires Association is supporting me in the appeal. Look, they have no choice. It's a union. You got to have your workers' backs when you're a union in every single appeal process. You got to go through these things. And then somebody is going to legitimize the claims from Major League Baseball, and somebody's going to refute the claims from Major League Baseball, and they'll come to some form of judgment here.
I don't get how any sports league at this point just doesn't say, look, if you're a part of the league in any manner, you can't gamble. The end.
I get it, but here's the deal. You want people, you don't want to create a situation where you give leverage to the other side. Remember, like, this is a union that Major League Baseball is working with,
right?
You know, the players union in all these leagues. If you start demanding too many things, all of a sudden you'll give the other side leverage. Like, they'll say, well, those are unfair working conditions. And then you might even get into a space where legally you're not allowed to do certain things, limit people's freedoms. And so I get what you're saying. And I completely understand that it would be a lot easier if this was all black and white. You gamble, you're out. And it doesn't matter if you're gambling table games or slot machines in Vegas, or if you're going to a sports betting app, you're out if you gamble. But you can't do that because people have freedoms in this country that are protected, and you can't infringe on somebody's freedom even though they work for you.
But why would that be any different than a rule of you can't take PEDs?
Well, okay, so PEDs, a lot of them without a specific prescription are illegal anyways.
I get that.
If there's an illicit activity, sports betting is completely legal.
Right.
And so if you weren't an umpire, you're allowed to bet on any sport you want. And I think specifically, don't get me wrong, I'm with you. I think it would be easier to dictate these rules and for everybody to follow them if they were hard lines. But there's gray area with everything. And I think sometimes it can be misconstrued and misunderstood. And some of these players, especially some of the players, the younger players, have like said, well, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Like that, and that was their legitimate excuse.
Yeah. And whether or not that's accurate, I doubt.
Yeah.
But the problem is, especially looking at some of these NFL rules, because I don't see the Major League Baseball ones as much, but the NFL rules are so convoluted and so confusing. It's too much. So to me, dumb it down, just make it black or white. But I understand what you're saying. But if you want to keep integrity, you got to make it easier to understand.
Jim Trotter wrote a great article after the Shohei Ohtani deal with Ipe Mitsuhara, and it was talking about that, CD, about how all the rules in all the different leagues are convoluted and a little bit different. And he did say the only way to keep complete integrity is to go your direction, where any gambling whatsoever, any hint of it comes with immediate repercussions.
Yeah.
I just don't think that's enforceable.
Well, or there's going to be so many people that are out, one of the two. But to me, it just seems like, look, while you're in the league, you can't do it. As soon as you're out, go for it.
I just feel also you got to remember these are multi-billion-dollar franchises in most cases who are capitalizing off of the work of these players' unions, these umpires, these referees, these officials. Like, they're making so much money. And by the way, they're making money from sports books. Like, the church and state that used to exist, like, ne'er shall the Vegas and the NFL ever. There's a team in Vegas now. Ne'er shall NHL in Vegas. There's an NHL team in Vegas now.
What's at the bottom of the screen on ESPN right now?
Where is
on
it?
the bottom right
ESPN,
corner.
ESPN, who's one of the largest sports networks in the country, has their own betting network now. Here's the reality of the situation. If you do this, you are going to potentially limit the endorsement deals that players and coaches potentially can do with these outside sports books, because they know that there's kind of they would know there's these strict rules in places, and you don't want to upset the apple cart. I think you would get into a really difficult spot if you started legislating your league that way.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tricky situation.
We do it every day. Let's lead off with Fletch today.
Are you sure?
Yeah, he played anchor yesterday. I want to hear what you have right off the top.
Well, this is okay. Yesterday I went with the fact that pedicures are awesome.
Right.
You stand by that today.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
he does.
In fact, I would like to go get one today. I don't know if it's going to happen. Fit in with my busy schedule. But this is not going to help me at all, because today I'm going to talk about how awesome musicals are. During this last commercial break, we're having this conversation where you guys were poo-pooing the fact.
Quick time out. Did you not have a monologue ready to go?
No, I did. I was actually going to talk about
and I was going to talk about musicals.
Rich's stupid chips thing yesterday that really ruined my entire afternoon. But
that was sorry. I'm sorry for disclosing that, but if you have 4 tortilla chips, you've essentially had a full tortilla.
I don't think that's true.
Yeah, well, dude, it is true. I mean, just think about the math.
I can't think that's true.
It's like-
actually
Why?
because I won't be able to live the rest of my life happily.
Like the 6-inch tortillas, they cut 2 cuts, bang, bang.
Yeah. They just cut them in 4s, and then they deep fry them, and they become chips. And so if you eat like 10 chips,
Yeah, no, I got you.
or no,
The logic is there,
yeah, say 20 chips.
but I'm going to
let's-
think illogically.
20 chips. That's all it takes.
That's
and
easy.
Then by the way, that's 5 tortillas.
Well,
That's
here's my
easy.
problem, guys.
You would never sit down and say, "May I order 5 tortillas to chomp on?"
Like, I worry about the two of your cultured minds.
Yeah, what's
Why?
going on?
I don't think you're there enough. Like, there is something incredible about musicals. The reason this came up is because I brought up Phantom of the Opera because of an actress that's in that's also in the movie Shameless.
You're like,
or the
oh,
TV show
she
Shameless.
she was the lead in Phantom of the Opera, and I
neither
said,
of you two
I'll
have
never
ever
know.
seen Phantom of the Opera. It's like this historical, beautiful story that gets woven in and out through awesome music, and it's really great. And you guys won't give it a chance. And then TD brings up La La Land, which is like the worst musical made in the last 50 years,
I like La La Land.
and he loves it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, neither of those two people
But-
are actually singing, or if they are, it's just full of auto tune.
Every other musical kind of sucks.
Musicals are awesome.
Maybe
Like,
Mary Poppins.
I'll say that.
Greatest Showman's a great movie,
I
and that
don't-
came
I-
out recently.
I couldn't get through 10 minutes of that.
I can't really watch musicals like.
Have you ever
on
been to like a play?
television? Yeah, of course. I've been to.
No.
You've never like gone
Oh,
to see
wait,
Wicked
yeah.
somewhere?
No. I did see a play out in Palm Desert, and the last one I've seen.
yeah. I've been to musical theater and have enjoyed it. I just can't sit down. Like, here's the thing. If I'm going to, first of all, I've never like thought to myself, you know what I haven't done lately is gone to a musical. But when you're invited to a musical, you make the best of it, and some of them have been good. But I've never, ever, not once in my life have been like, oh my God, thank God The Greatest Showman's out on DVD.
I
Like
saw
now,
it in theaters. It was great.
now I can finally watch it. Or for example, oh my God, Les Mis is back in theaters.
Oh, another
Better
one.
go.
Yeah, I've seen
Les-
Les Mis live too, and it's really great. And then I saw Wicked, and that was a life-changing experience, seeing Wicked in like a theater for
It's-
official
It's
production.
your thing. It's not
Yeah,
our
yeah,
thing.
right,
It's
yeah.
our-
No, and it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, maybe
Look,
you guys
you
should
like
try to
choc-
open up a door and maybe
you
go
like
get a pedicure.
You like chocolate ice cream. We don't. Yeah, you like pedicures and musicals. We don't. It's fine.
There's certain things in life
You like
that I think you guys are
pedicures,
closing yourselves off
musicals,
to.
Bud Light, and chocolate ice cream.
Leave one off the list. But I'm saying, like, you could be the rough and tough sports guy and still have a sensitive side.
Oh, dude,
and I just want to open you guys
What?
up to the most sensitive parts of life.
Are you
Absolutely
saying that-
do. Absolutely do.
Are you saying that Rich is insensitive?
I'm saying that you're not sensitive.
Why am I not sensitive?
He
Because I
likes
don't
to
like
play the
Les
middle,
Mis?
right? Where he could talk about going to see a musical theater
Oh,
and
dude,
whatever.
dude,
Well, I can't help it if they suck.
They don't suck though. You suck.
What are you talking about?
And like
Whoa,
yesterday,
whoa,
you were
whoa, whoa.
hard
See,
no
see,
pedicure.
Time out.
What?
You just said Travis sucks because he doesn't like musical theater. Is there something deeper happening here? I mean, come on. The guy, I mean, he's been like a brother to you.
Yeah, what is going on?
I don't know.
Does
Just
the,
something's
does the
going through
rest
my
of
head.
your family like musical theater?
Yeah.
Okay.
So everybody's in on it.
Mhm.
Well, see, you were raised in a household. Listen, maybe part of it is look, I was absolutely the odd man out in my family. I was an athlete. The rest of my family musicians. So I wasn't really into music. I was into sports growing up, and so I was dragged to plays my whole young
Yeah.
life. I mean, I can't tell you how many live performances I've been to singing. I've watched my sister sing time and time again. By the way, beautiful singer. She sung at my wedding. She sung Ave Maria, tears streaming down my face. I love
Boats and
hose.
That's right. Oh, boats and hose. I was doing it into the mic. Actually, that was the priest. Anyways, look, the point was it's a fun wedding. No, I every to each his own.
Let's go
you
get a
know.
pedicure.
Yeah, maybe not.
Come on.
Let me open up some more doors for you guys.
I'm out on the pedicure.
You know,
I am way
how about-
out.
Let's do this for a day, TD.
Yeah.
You, me, and Rich.
Go
We'll
ahead.
go get pedicures.
Yeah.
Go get some sushi. Go to a play.
Okay. It's funny you bring up sushi. Okay.
Okay,
Because that's where I'm headed. Because
TV,
I was
let's
thinking,
hear it.
okay, you guys are into this. Today is National Sushi Day.
Is it
Dude,
really?
Wow.
It is. Right.
It might be time to get some sushi.
I've had sushi. It sucks.
Wow.
It sucks.
Wow.
It's not good. It just tastes like whatever you dip it in. That's it. Otherwise, it's just nothing. It's just weird texture, nothing.
No.
So I don't get. I
no.
honestly, I think you guys like sushi because it seems like it should be cool because everybody says it's cool. It's not that cool.
No.
Like
This is
honestly, if you open up a bag of Cheetos, that far surpasses the taste of sushi.
so I so vehemently disagree with you. I think that what you're missing is the fact that when fish is really fresh, like the fresh is like, I mean, fresh caught, whatever.
Cook it.
I mean, yeah, like you don't got to do much to it. And I've realized this over time. And really it was when I first had sushi, I'm like, yeah, that's the only time. But no, now when I go and I see like a rare tuna ahi sandwich or a ahi tuna sandwich, or I see like a rare, tuna, whatever they call it, like, sometimes they'll serve it on those little like taquito things and you have them as an appetizer. I'm like, oh my gosh, like all you got to do is just kiss the tuna fish with a tiny bit of heat. And all of a sudden you have this delicious thing. Like the tuna speaks for itself. You don't have to do very little cooking to it.
I still have to eat Joe Moon's poke bowl. That sounds terrible.
Dude, poke bowl,
So good.
it is life-changing when you have a good one.
Somebody, did you send a video of poke being made?
I don't know. I sent a picture of poke bowls that Kendall and I had last week.
Yeah,
No,
those
That
look,
were unreal.
those
They're
look
so
great.
good.
yeah. Place,
Dude, just fresh tuna and don't even cook it.
yeah, just good.
We did it
cube
one
up.
time. My buddy's friend caught a big ass tuna just off the coast of San Diego and brought it in and had way too much of it. Couldn't fit it in his freezer. So he gave everybody tuna steaks. And we just did that night, cut up the tuna, like the day he caught it, cut up the tuna, put it in a poke bowl with a bunch of stuff. Whew.
Any fish, if it's on my plate, I need about maybe 3/4 of a pound of ketchup.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Ketchup?
My
Just bury it so I don't know it's there.
Not soy sauce?
my morning monologue
No.
is it's away from musicals. It's far departed from sushi. It brings us back to golf and it brings us back to this weekend. I've had a little bit of a change of heart. So Rory McIlroy, right? He's sitting in the tent. He's watching the television screens. His heart absolutely breaks when Bryson DeChambeau hits that final shot, sinks the putt. And I was thinking to myself, what if Rory was having like internally like an emotional breakdown? Like what if like his world shattered? I mean, there have been news about his relationship falling apart with his wife. There's been, obviously a lot of experiences like this over the course of his golf career where he's been close to that mountaintop and he's somehow screwed it up and he did it again.
It's been a decade since his last major win.
What if this dude had like a full-on mental breakdown? And now, again, this is bringing the human side to sports to the table. And a lot of people would rather look at athletes, as athletes, not as full human beings that have lives outside of sport and have emotions and all those things. But what if Rory, what if he was falling apart? And when he got into that car, because golf is so important to him and it's his only sanctuary, and it was the first time he felt good in a while because his world falling apart, he just started sobbing, crying. and he's getting driven away. And we're all saying, this guy's such a jerk. He's an idiot. I can't believe it. Why wouldn't he shake Bryson's hand? And meanwhile, we're not seeing the worst. Maybe it's the worst moment he's gone through recently. I started feeling bad, like, because yesterday I was kind of roasting Rory. And yeah, look, we poke fun, we have fun. But all of a sudden I was like, am I being a jerk? He could really be going through something.
Maybe. And you want to know the good news?
What's that?
We're going to find out. The Netflix Full Swing documentary crew followed him the whole way.
No way.
Wow.
So from
really?
the second that he left that little scores table where he signed his scorecard,
Yeah.
there was a documentary crew. He was mic'd up, following him to his car, got into the car with him.
Rich, you are a former pro athlete.
That's crazy. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
neither.
same. But being a pro, don't you turn it off for a minute so you go finish being a pro? I mean, you shake hands, you do the deal. That's part of the pro athlete part of this thing.
It's true. Yes. There's
a switch.
There's no doubt. But I know there have been moments during my life, even when, you can't help yourself. Like, you're supposed to be a professional, but for whatever reason, you're in a spot where whatever happened was so important to you internally, you can't help having the outward match the inward. And so you've got no choice but to, in the case of Rory, he had a run. Maybe it was that serious. Now, that is fascinating. I did not know he had a documentary crew following him through the U.S. Open.
I'm sure he's stoked.
Oh my God. Because who knows what that car ride looked like? What happened if two things. What happened if he hopped in the car and he was just like, Burger King, please? They drove through, he got a Whopper, and he's just like, anyways, on to the next one.
Well, he
Crazy
did
day.
cash a pretty significant check for coming in second.
Yeah.
That's the funny thing about golf. You always wonder about the guys that finish second, third, fourth. And now Rory's made a ton of money. He doesn't need another U.S. Open paycheck. But that does feel like, second place. Like, once you get through the initial heartbreak of you losing, you're like, I still got like close to $1 million coming my way.
It's a pretty good amount of money. So, yeah, speaking of making money
Hell yeah, dude.
with golf, oh my gosh.
If you got the skills.
You can make a lot of dough. And Fletch, he made a ton. I was on the group text over the weekend, and Fletch kept firing it off about this lineup and that lineup. It was wild. You were all over the U.S. Open.
Less than birdies at Pinehurst #2. That was the way to go, and it did well for me this weekend. But hey, it's time for the excitement of summer sports. Basketball's in the books, and I say the best way to take on summer sports excitement to the next level is with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Game on.
Yeah, listen, with a community of over 5 million players, Prize Picks is the most exciting way to get in on the summer sports action while watching your favorite teams, players. Look, baseball, Padres baseball here in this city, huge. We're just starting up with pro soccer, pro tennis, esports have been popping off like crazy, especially women's basketball. The WNBA has stolen more headlines over this past month than I've ever seen in the course of my entire life. More popular than ever. You could get in on the action just like we have. A lot of less thans early in the season for me. I cashed out on a lot of those lineups, but it's actually heating up. I had to flip my script with the WNBA because a lot of them were overdoing their stat, but I love that. Prize Picks makes it a challenge, and if you got the skills like you mentioned, Fletch, you could win big.
Yeah, $10 into $1,000. That sounds pretty good. Just on a single game this summer. Get ready to enjoy the best fantasy sports app play available. Download the Prize Picks app right now. Enter code DOGS. That is DOGS, dogs, as in bark, as in roadies, dogs, hangers, bangers. For a first deposit match up to $100. Enter code DOGS on the Prize Picks app for a first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. This update is presented by the San Diego Humane Society. Boston Celtics are the 2024 NBA champs. They beat the Mavericks 4-1. Jaylen Brown named the finals MVP. Padres have now lost 4 straight. They lost to the Phillies yesterday 9-2. A couple more against the Phils over the next 2 days. Sticking with baseball, Dodgers star Mookie Betts out 6 to 8 weeks with that broken hand. And Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final is tonight. Florida Panthers up 3-1 over the Edmonton Oilers. Make a life-saving difference for animals in need by supporting Give Humane, San Diego Humane Society's Day of Giving. Your donation through June 27th will go twice as far thanks to our generous donors. Learn more at givehumanesd.org.
We got some Doobie Brother tickets we're going to be giving away shortly here. Big Rich, TD, and Flash. Doobie Brothers going to be out at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater June 25th. Looking for seats. You're looking for deets. Ticketmaster.com.
We can't play because it's not royalty free, but did you guys see at the Mets game yesterday, the mariachi band play Creed?
Oh,
no.
My God. Get that sound.
What? Yeah.
We can't play it.
Wait,
Why?
we can't even play
No.
a mariachi band's rendition?
I don't think
Creed?
But that's royalty-free Creed. I thought that was
Here-
royalty-free
so.
Creed.
We can play it at the very end of this segment and not put it in the podcast.
Mariachi band in the style of Creed. Wait, which Creed song do they do?
Can you take me?
Golly.
I can't even do that.
Wait, yes, you can.
Wait.
Oh, we can sing.
Yeah,
we
we
can.
can
Oh,
sing a
dude,
song.
I'll tell you right now. We have to then have a full staff meeting. We need to
Right.
get
we need clarity.
VP of Programming Taylor Jukes. We need to get her on the horn. San Diego president of iHeart San Diego, Noreen Ippolito. We need to get her on the horn. Maybe we'll call in lead engineer John Rigg. I mean, he's probably sipping coffee saying things like, can't be fixed. We got to get him on the phone. We need to get all that. Julie,
You just nailed that impression.
Julie from sales, she walked in on the mic. She was helping us sort out something last week.
She loved it.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Get her on the horn.
Mhm.
I mean, we'll get them all. We'll get them all. We got to sort this out because if we can't sing Creed, if we can't sing Creed, I don't want to live in that world.
Do you know, technically, I don't think you can sing Happy Birthday.
I'm going to punch somebody.
What? Look,
I am
watch.
there's what?
Happy birthday.
Are we even allowed to say happy birthday? Are we going to get banged for that?
What do we have to say? The big day?
You know, the big day where you turn 45.
I do think like all the Winnie the Pooh songs from the original one are now you can use for use.
Yeah, the copyright
The
has expired.
Mickey Mouse original theme for use.
Okay.
Yeah, so apparently Happy Birthday is now public domain. It was copywritten by Warner Chappell.
Jeez.
And he could sue you if
Okay.
he's saying. But now, happy birthday to you.
You know, speaking of contracts expiring, Charles Barkley, he has entertained us for decades. I mean, think about it. As a Phoenix Sun player and then bounced around the league a little bit before retiring and then became a personality. And I was discussing this over the weekend. For my money, I don't think there is a better athlete turned personality that comes to mind. I mean, I truly mean this. When Charles Barkley speaks and it's about basketball or it's about lifestyle or it's about politics or it's about his personal views on just about anything, I'm interested. Charles Barkley is uniquely honest in a very dishonest world. He is a guy who tells you whatever he thinks at all times, and he doesn't care who he's going to offend. He doesn't care about the corporate sponsors. He's going to give you the real rap every single time. And guess what, TNT? He's told it to them before. If you don't like it, fire me. He'll tell everybody because to be Charles Barkley or be as good as Charles Barkley is, he has to have that freedom, and he does. And I love it. I love him as a broadcaster.
I absolutely agree.
And
I think he's
retiring.
oh man. Yeah, that's sad. That
I believe
makes me
there's
sad.
a stipulation to it. It's if TNT loses NBA broadcasts.
Which they will.
Which they
are.
will, yeah.
So he said at the end of next season, he's done.
So for the same reason we harped on Jason Tatum for being inauthentic, I love Charles Barkley for being so authentic.
And I hope
So-
he still does his college basketball stuff because he's been part of the panel on CBS for years now during March Madness, where he's not doing anything during games, but when they go back to the studio, Charles Barkley will be there, and he talks the same way he does during Inside the NBA, and it's really great. Like the way he talks about the college athletes, how he thinks they're going to do at the next level, or if he thinks the guy has no shot, he'll tell it to you straight. And I just think that is a great window to keep Charles Barkley around a little bit because Turner obviously is not going to lose the college basketball March Madness anytime soon. But yeah, for the NBA, you're taking like one of the last good things in the NBA and getting rid of it.
I saw this expanded quote from Barkley where he said, I think the limbo is probably the weirdest dynamic of the whole thing. We can't even have an honest discussion. Hey, would you go here? Would you go here? That goes back to my original point. None of this means anything because we still got to work together for another year. It doesn't do any of us good. Hey, would you guys go to Amazon? Hey, would you guys go to NBC? Would you guys go to ESPN? I'm like, dude, we got another year to be together. So worrying about something that is a year and a half away is just kind of stupid. Like, look, I get it.
Sounds really familiar.
Right? Like, yeah. I get it. When you're having a conversation with somebody and you're not getting straight answers, and you are, as I put it before, uniquely honest in a dishonest world, that is going to rub your feathers the wrong way. Like you are going to feel, gosh, like I can't get a straight answer out of people. And all I am is straight with these people. I tell them whatever's on my mind, when I'm happy, when I'm sad, when I'm mad, when I'm glad. Like, why am I honest with them if they're not going to be honest with me? And those people get pushed the farthest. And look, Charles popped up over the course of his life where he's gotten involved in, invested in, maybe it hasn't worked out. But if he was smart with his money, this is a guy who's made so much money, he could probably live happily ever after. Life's not about money, though. I think certain people are edified by a good, hard day's work. And I think he works hard. I think he's successful because he's brilliantly honest, but also I do think that he applies like a level of energy and effort to these broadcasts that not a lot of people are willing to do, and he's been paid handsomely for it.
Yeah. Is Shaq hanging around?
I'm guessing. Look, Shaq is America's pitch man.
Well,
I mean, Shaq is going to be around.
but Shaq without Barkley isn't as fun.
See, that's the thing. He gets so much out of Shaq. Like Shaq, and don't get me wrong, I love Shaq.
Costello without Hall.
Yeah, that's right.
God, that's heartbreaking.
I mean, just imagine if you, Chuck, you don't got no rings. You can't say that no more. It's Big Jack Diesel, three-time NBA champion. Chuck, where are your rings? Oh, now that's terrible. That's terrible. The banter back and forth.
It's the best.
You ain't got no rings, Chuck. I'll tell you right now, Shaq Diesel isn't going to be taken down by a chicken wing. Looking cross-eyed into the camera. I love Shaq.
I just hope to God they don't replace Chuck with like Draymond Green.
Well, they're going to have to do something.
Mhm.
And it's probably going to be Draymond Green.
They're going to have to do something. I mean, there's a lot of guys out there who are very good, very talented, very honest, by the way, but they're not Chuck. They're not Chuck.
Mhm.
It's
He's
like
101.
it's like trying to replace John Madden. There
like-
will never,
Right.
ever be another John
Right.
Madden.
It's like trying to replace Creed with mariachi music, except this was actually amazing. Take a listen.
Oh my gosh.
Guys, if you love me, at my next birthday party, actually, maybe we'll all celebrate like an event together where we hire a mariachi band to sing Creed.
Like
If-
exclusively?
Hold on.
Yes.
If we bring a mariachi band in studio, can they play Creed in studio?
Oh, I believe so.
Okay.
They can if we don't podcast it.
Somebody
Just do a
call-
live
wait,
only
wait,
show.
wait, Somebody call John Rigg.
He knows all of our copyright policies.
Nope, can't do it. Anyways, look, we promised Doobie Brothers tickets, and we shall deliver Doobie Brothers tickets. So if you're interested in going to the show at North Island Credit Union Amphitheater, June 25th, I got all those details right. You could go ahead and call 877-767-4760. Be caller number 5 at exactly 7:45, and you're going to go see the Doobie Brothers, and hopefully their opening act is a mariachi band playing Creed. We can't promise that, but hopefully so. Deets and seats at Ticketmaster.com. Unbelievable. All right, coming up next, we go from basketball to golf. Well, not really. We'll explain on the other side.
Rich, Fletch, we were just giving away those Doobie Brother tickets, and you said for Deets and seats. Look, prior to SD Fat Loss, my ass was so big I couldn't get it in a seat. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I needed to shrink it, and that's why I called Wayne and Chloe. They jumped on board and they said, we can help you shrink that thing down so you can get your seat tail in a seat.
Well, I'll say this. Every armrest of every chair that you came in contact with prior to meeting Wayne and Chloe thanks you, because I can't tell you how many of them were overstressed, burdened by your bulging hips. Your bulbous derriere.
That's right. That's right.
Giant ass.
That's right. That's what they called it. And in the streets. Look, if you're looking to lose weight, you don't know where to start. Maybe you had a New Year's resolution this year. This was going to be the year you were going to drop some pounds, and you never got started because you didn't really know where to start, or you thought, God, that mountain is just too hard to climb. Go to stfatloss.com. I thought the same thing. We're nearly a year ago that we started this thing now. They said you're going to lose 20 to 30 pounds in 8 weeks' time. You're going to do it without exercise. You're going to do it without counting points or calories or some weird fat injection diet. You're not going to do any of that. You're going to do it the healthy way, the right way, and it's going to come off real quick. And I went, that all sounds amazing. However, I'm not sure I buy it, but I will follow the plan to the letter. You just tell me what to do. I did it. 31 pounds in 8 weeks' time. Rich, 35 plus. Fletch pushing 45 plus pounds here with SDFatLoss.com. Look, if you want to lose weight, you want to lose weight fast, there's no other place to go. SDFatLoss.com. Mention the show, and you'll save $200. Actually, go to SDFatLoss.com, sign up. The consultation's absolutely free. So you can learn all about the program and what it's going to be and how fast you're going to lose weight for absolutely $0. You have nothing to lose except unwanted pounds. Go to SDFatLoss.com, then mention the show, Big Rich, Judy, and Fletch, to save yourself $200. SDFatLoss.com. Wow. This is fun.
Big Rich, TD, and Fletch, San Diego Sports 760. So all of a sudden, a little DIY advice from Travis Dale. TD, lead this man to the promised land.
And that was Andrew.
Okay, Andrew, it depends on what you're doing. So my thought, first off, is one, I'd want a lot of outlets. Okay, give me power all over the place.
Dude, that is perfect advice.
Okay, two, if you're going to do an air compressor, run lines on separate parts of the garage so I can plug in just into the wall. You know what I'm saying? So you have an air compressor in the corner, and then you have lines that run to each wall.
This is brilliant because, like, if you have a project going on both sides of your garage and you need the nail gun over here,
dude, I just plug it in. And it depends on where you're stacking stuff in there as well.
Well,
you get around
storage.
How many arcade games would you say you should have?
I would suggest 0, to be quite honest. It does take up a lot of room. So if you have room in your house, that's the way I would go.
So how's he going to do Halloween? Luring children into his garage.
This is true.
So you're saying completely piss off the missus, put your console arcade games around the living room, and leave the garage as a workshop.
That sounds right to me.
I was actually at Ann's cousin. He lives up north a little bit, North County, San Diego. He has a garage workshop that he's actually going to expand. He's going to make it bigger because he's a contractor and he does a lot of contracting and, spec homes and things like that around San Diego. But his roots were carpentry. And so he bought like a bandsaw, and he's got the drill press. He's got all the table saws. He's got all the tools. He's got, I'm so envious of people, who have that skill, and you do, and also of people who have the space in their home to make a wood shop. So Andrew, dude, TD, I mean, I feel like you should go over there and be like Bob Vila.
We should all go over there.
Like this old house.
Let's go swing hammers.
I would be happy to sit in a lawn chair and drink beer while you guys work.
No. We're giving you the whole hog.
No, I'm really good at that.
No, dude. No, you're gonna get in there. You know what? Let's have him do like a French drain. Let's have him break all the concrete first.
Oh my gosh.
I do. So, now I don't fancy myself a DIYer at all, but I have fantasies about one day when I have a space like a garage and area that I want to do stuff in. I'm putting everything on wheels so that I can take it out and be working in the sun and then put it all back. And so I don't must up the garage.
Sounds like you said working in the sun.
I like working.
Here's the only problem. So everything you said made sense, but anybody who's worked in a wood shop knows how much sawdust gets created. So if you wheel things out that are going to create sawdust, I mean, I guess you could sweep. It's outdoors, but you might
blow it into the neighbor's yard.
That's right.
I'd rather have the sawdust just go outside than be in the garage.
You can create. That's the other thing. You can, Andrew, ventilation.
Oh yeah, get a vacuum, a whole house vac.
Andrew, buddy, you got a golden opportunity.
Spend some money.
Yeah.
What would you do for AC out in the garage? Are those plug-in units good enough?
You mean like the what do they call them? Split.
HVAC splits. The split units.
They work. Yeah, they do work very
well. Those are wall mounted.
Because I would want my garage cold.
You could do a portable where you just have a vent hose, like an exhaust hose that pours all the hot air outside. If you have a window, you could also get one of those exhaust tube extenders. Man, yeah, dude, let's go build out Andrew's garage.
Andrew, send us your address.
While it's down to the studs, by the way, where the joists are, take one and widen it and put one of those attic access. Well, if it's 2-story.
Yeah.
So you can pull it down and have steps right there in the garage. That's sweet.
What about TV setup in the garage?
Roll with it. There's really no limit.
I do like that. Fletch's ideas are actually better than ours. What about TV?
What about a built-in kegerator?
We need a beer fridge, and you need a kegerator for kegnog. It's eggnog in a keg.
I was pitching that to someone this weekend. They liked the idea a lot.
You're really pushing kegnog. You know what?
Christmas is only 6 months away.
I do not blame you. I do not blame you. Everybody needs a keg of eggnog around the holidays.
It's a miniature. It's a fun keg. It's a tiny one.
I told Sarah if we ever build a house in the kitchen, I want a drain under the cabinet like a restaurant, so you can just mop things right into that drain. And number 2, when you go to the doctor's office and you see they have pedals for the faucet.
Yep.
Give me some pedals.
Okay, so
you want a stick shift kitchen sink?
I want to be able to wash my hands, I don't want to wave in front of it and see if the motion sensor picks it up. I want an actual physical pedal to where if I'm doing barbecue, okay, I've handled my meat. And now I got to wash my hands. I have to take a lap for that?
Speaking of foot pedals, as long as you're wearing your Good Feet store arch supports, I am fully okay with this idea. Listen, as you guys know, this whole show was sized, fitted. We had our try before you buy experience at the Good Feet store. All of us walked out of the store with arch supports, and we're singing the praises still of the Good Feet store, especially after a playing career in the NFL. My lower back was a mess. I had back pain every day waking up. My hip was falling apart. It felt like on the right side. I had knee pain. I had foot pain. I had ankle pain. I mean, I was the perfect candidate to go in there and tell you whether or not this place works. And it does. When I walked through the doors, I was skeptical. My immediate thought was, how could something that I'm putting in my shoes actually improve the way the rest of my body feels? But it makes sense when you think about it. Your feet are the foundation for the rest of your body. If a building has a poor foundation, it's going to be a pretty poorly built building. And so I've been better as a result of wearing these arch supports, and I'm really excited for you to feel better as well. Go to goodfeet.com, set up your first and free appointment. Like I said, try before you buy. You walk around the store. If it's not for you, that's fine. But I promise you, you're going to be impressed with the level of customer service and satisfaction you'll have leaving the store. And then give it time. For me, it took a week, and I realized, oh, my lower back, I'm not waking up with pain as much anymore. And then after a month, a lot of the other lower body joint pain absolutely melted away. So I want you to go to the Good Feet store. They have 200 plus locations around the US and overseas, and try for yourself. The Good Feet store. Okay, coming up next, let's do it. Let's dip our toes into the storyline that's been haunting one of us for a full 24 hours. Next.
It's hour number 3, Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. This update presented by Macy's Backstage. We will start off with some breaking news in the world of golf. We got the 4 for the Paris Olympics. Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, Wyndham Clark, Colin Morikawa will represent Team USA in Paris. The Boston Celtics are the 2024 NBA champs. They beat the Mavericks 4-1. Jaylen Brown, the MVP. Padres have now lost 4 straight. They lost to the Phillies yesterday 9-2. A couple more against the Phils over the next 2 days. And Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final coming up tonight. Florida Panthers up 3-1 over the Edmonton Oilers. Shop Macy's Backstage today for amazing deals on everything you need for summer. Get low prices every day at Macy's Backstage. Find a store near you at macy'sbackstage.com. Off price, on trend, arriving daily.
Big Rich, TD, and Fletch, San Diego Sports 760. Happy Tuesday to those who celebrate. The Celtics are celebrating their 18th NBA championship as a franchise, overtaking the LA Lakers. The Padres are not celebrating a 4-game losing streak. That is unfortunate. And the San Francisco 49ers are not celebrating the fact that their star receiver from a year ago, 75 catches, 1,342 yards logged over the 2023 season. Brandon Ayuk took to FaceTime and then later posted it to TikTok talking to Jaden Daniels, I choked on the Cheez-It, the new quarterback for the Washington Commanders. He was FaceTiming with his former ASU teammate. Ayuk obviously played out his career as a Sun Devil before being drafted in the first round to the 49ers. Jaden Daniels was there for a time before transferring to LSU and having a Heisman season. You look at these two guys on FaceTime, they're old friends. They're just chopping it up. Ayuk goes, "They don't want me, dude. They don't want me."
Even worse than that, you told them, they told me they don't want me.
Yeah. So
yes, we do, Brandon.
Hang on. What do you think he meant by that, Fletch? That they don't want him?
I think he meant that the 49ers offered him a contract that Brandon was not happy with. I think it was reported. Well, I can't remember the number, 17, 18 million a year. Brandon was not happy with that number. And then he said a different number that was much bigger. And the 49ers said, we don't want to pay you that number.
So that's what you think is what went down.
That's what I think.
Okay.
Is there any chance that maybe he applied for a job at In-N-Out?
Maybe.
Okay.
They don't want him.
And then they said, sorry, we're going to go with someone else.
We have a better fry cook.
Yeah.
Waiting in the wings.
Right. We watched your potato cutting audition.
Uh-huh.
We were not impressed.
We saw you on the tomato slicer.
Yeah.
And we said, no thanks.
By the way, Deebo Samuel did something like very similar to this a few years ago. And then the 49ers and Deebo Samuel worked it out. He was in a nightclub and he told somebody something. And then he ended up posting the clip to his social media.
Look at you. Always looking for a positive.
But I like that about Fletch. Fletch is for people who don't know him and think like the person on there is different from that is not true. He is one of the most positive human beings I've met, and you can't get him down about the 49ers. Not for long. Not for long. You could say what you will about Brock Purdy and his playoff appearances. He'll tell you about the good ones. He'll tell you about the good ones.
Yeah.
Were there any bad ones?
No. You know what? You should let us know about the final drive of that Detroit game.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Yeah, listen.
Final drive of the Packers game. Awesome.
Yeah, listen, you can play 3 bad quarters as long as you play a good half of one.
Right.
And that's
listen.
We're going off the
It's like flying an airplane, all right? Flying an airplane. Nobody cares about anything except that landing.
Buddy,
yeah,
you nailed it.
That's all we're worried about.
We did it! These Cheez-Its are so good.
Look, here's the thing. The 49ers have obviously had to make some tough decisions, right? Eric Armstead is no longer a San Francisco 49er. He was, until that point, it was between him and George Kittle for the longest tenured 49ers, and they let him go because the fact of the matter is they're paying a lot of different guys a lot of money, and they just signed Christian McCaffrey to a new contract. So there's a chance that Brandon Ayuk never actually heard the words "we don't want you" come out of the mouth. There's a chance that he saw Christian McCaffrey's contract, and the whole time he thought he was priority number 1 for the 49ers. And when Christian McCaffrey, whose contract wasn't even up, gets an extension while he's waiting to get paid, he could have taken that to mean they don't want me. They wanted Christian, so they chose Christian.
However way you digest it, it definitely is telling as to how it's going right now between the 49ers and Ayuk. But I say this all the time, and I want you to take solace in this because it's true now. It's true before. It'll be true in the future. People don't make decisions. Deadlines do. So there's no urgency here. I mean, don't get me wrong. Yes,
78 days of urgency.
You want to get the deal done before the games start getting played, but the reality of the situation is if they get it done, they get it done. If they don't, there's still time.
No,
and so
I always see these stories come out about like, okay, Brandon, remember when Le'Veon Bell was holding out?
Yeah.
And the stories all were coming out of how much Pittsburgh was fining him for every day he was missing.
Right.
So Brandon Ayuk is getting pretty close to when it starts being $50,000 a day fines, and then it starts being $100,000 a day fines when you don't show up to things. How much does that actually matter for players? Do they care at all? Because a lot of times when the contract eventually does get figured out, the team's like, yeah, don't worry about those fines.
All that's forgiven. No, none of the players care about it. It's all, look, all of that is ceremonious. It's they have to do it because it's a part of it. And by the way, the NFL is trying to force players to onboard certain risks so they don't hold out. And the players still will use that as leverage. Like, I'm so pissed at you. I'll happily pay these fines because you're not offering what I think I deserve. And then if it's a protracted holdout where you have a player, and I witnessed this firsthand with Logan Mankins and the New England Patriots. I want to say it was 2010 or 2011, where their top offensive lineman was holding out. And I think he missed 8 games that season, a half of a season. Maybe it was 10. The guy was in great shape when he returned, but he kind of ate crow and just sucked it up and took a team-friendly deal because they weren't budging. And they also didn't want to trade him. So they were going to make this dude sit out an entire season. Like, that was the plan in New England. And by the way, we were having a good season. So he was thinking, geez, well, yeah, I guess, if you can't beat him, you got to join him.
And the Niners did draft a couple of wide receivers this year. So what they could do is force Ayuk's hand. They could just let him sit this year. And
it's possible.
And if one of those rookies has production, they can be like, well, look, it's not as much you as you think it is.
And you got to be real brave, man.
Yeah.
Especially as a wide receiver, because here's the deal. I'm not saying that they're replaceable when they're as good as Brandon Ayuk, but I am saying that they're kind of replaceable even when they're as good as Brandon Ayuk, because think about how many good wide receivers, good running backs. There are certain positions. It's tough at the quarterback position, edge rushers. It's tough at the edge rusher position. When you have a good one, you got to hold on to them. People invest a lot of money. They'll overspend for those positions. But wide receivers, it's a more easily replaceable position than a lot of other ones. Think Tyreek Hill leaving in trade to the Miami Dolphins. Everybody was like, what's Patrick Mahomes going to do? I don't know, win a Super Bowl? And then, I don't know, win another one back to back?
A couple of them?
Yeah.
I didn't know how far you guys were going to let me go into the weeds on this, but I'm going to go right now.
Okay.
So I went back and I watched a bunch of Brandon Ayuk stuff yesterday. Some of his highlight packages.
I'm just going to eat cheese.
The music was awesome.
You were doing Brandon Ayuk highlight reels?
No, I was watching them. I wasn't making them, but one of them had the X going, give it to you, and it was really cool. But what I noticed a lot of the time, and Brandon Ayuk gets credit from a lot of the analysts and the Zimborskis or not Zimborski. Who's the dude that ran out of bounds on the NFL field that talks a lot
Orlovsky.
of football? Orlovsky. He always talks about the fact that Brandon Ayuk is this elite route runner, right? Like, he's able to get rid of coverages better than almost anyone in the league. It's like him and Devontae Adams. Well, when I look at it, Brandon Ayuk is wide the F open a lot. And I do wonder if right now during contract negotiations, whoever in the front office is in charge of the money decisions has a meeting with Kyle Shanahan, the head coach of the 49ers. And Kyle says, look, he's wide open a lot because I scheme him wide open. And all he has to do is catch the ball and run. Now, he's a very good route runner, but he's also part of a scheme that gets him open a lot. And then they go back to Brandon Ayuk's people and say, well, see, here's the thing. Like, we got 3 more guys coming up right now who can probably do pretty similar to what you do. It might not be as good, but they're going to be half the cost that you are. And so if that's where they're at right now between the 49ers and Brandon Ayuk, where there's insults being hurled both directions, it's not a great place to be in. And it does have me a little bit worried about even if he does come back, what is the culture going to be like when he's back?
So it's almost like your parents were getting a divorce. They're breaking up, and you decided you were going to go back and watch the home videos of the good times.
Basically. But they're all set to X go and give it to you.
Good Lord. Can you imagine? But you're gonna what? Then you're gonna what? And it's just mom making biscuits. Dad walks in.
That would be the best.
Dad walks in and he's smiling and shaking his head because the whole kitchen's covered in flour and the kids are making pancakes together. Then we're gonna roll, dog, roll. It's gonna give it to you.
When you watch Rich, is it more scheme or is it more Ayuk's ability to shake defenders?
Here's what,
Because I think it's a pretty good combination of both.
Well, Kyle Shanahan, I've said this before, is a great offensive coordinator. He's not a great situational coach because I think he has, unfortunately, his scheme has failed him in the most important moments over the course of his career as a coach. He's made some poor decisions. I mean, Brock Purdy needed more help up front than he received. Chris Jones was in his kitchen the entire Super Bowl against the Chiefs. That's the reason why they lost, because he didn't have clean throws. So what do you got to do? Commit more bodies to a problem up front on the offensive line. This happened in the NFC Championship game against the Philadelphia Eagles the year before that. I believe that Kyle Shanahan's responsible for Brock Purdy's elbow exploding because he had a third-string tight end trying to block Hassan Reddick, who at the time was the sack leader in the NFL. It was a bad scheme. It was play-action pass. You got to block forever on play-action pass. Bad scheme. But when he gets it right, he gets it really right. So he is a brilliant offensive mind. There's no question about that. And many quarterbacks have prospered in his system, and many receivers as a result have prospered in his system. What I will say, though, is Brandon Ayuk has rare ability in this league. Route running is one thing, but being able to run routes at his size and at the speed in which he runs routes, and then being a good high point ball catcher where he can elevate and come down with touchdowns in the most compressed part of the field in the red zone. Those are things that you will miss when you're scheming things up. Sometimes you could say, hey, we're just going to run around. And guess what? Ayuk's better than that guy. Those are the times where you miss him. Where
we
you
do
go,
want you back. We do. We
Yeah.
do. We do.
So we don't have that guy who's better than that guy. You know what I'm saying?
Rich, what's your gut say? Does he stay in San Francisco?
I think so. I think what's going to happen is they're going to find a middle ground here. He isn't going to be paid like the rest of these receivers. I don't think he's going to hold out. I think this team is too good for him to walk away from. So I think he's going to probably eat it a little bit. He's probably going to lick his wounds a little bit.
What, eat it to the tune of $20 million a year?
That
doesn't suck.
No, it doesn't. And look, nobody's going to cry big boohoo tears for Brandon Ayuk getting paid tens of millions of dollars annually to play the position. So that's not what it's about, but it's about maximizing your value. That's what he's trying to do. Completely understandable. And by the way, it's understandable on the business side. When you're a business owner and you're trying to get, the most output for the least amount of money, that's what contract negotiations are.
Yeah. Yeah, this is part of the plan.
Part of the plan. This is how it goes. And by the way, everybody is doing exactly what they should be doing. Brandon Ayuk is literally tearing pages out of Deebo Samuel's book right now on how to get paid by the 49ers. It's
very
almost line
deja
by
vu
line. Yeah.
from 2 years ago when Deebo was going through it. Now, their first round pick was Ricky Pearsall from Florida. I didn't really watch many Florida games last year, but
he's talented.
Everything I've read about him, it sounds like he's a stud.
He's talented. There's no question.
And they just paid
he-
Juwan Jennings.
was he from-
game Juwan?
Was he from Claire's in the mall?
No.
Pearsall?
I can't believe you.
What? Because of piercings?
I think he owes us a lap. I think he really does.
Pause right there.
They pierce ears?
Lap, you got to be back before the music ends.
Oh, my God.
There he goes. There he goes. Oh, my God. He's on the clock. I've never seen him move so fast. Dude, he is an athlete. Did you see that takeoff?
There was a little bit of a buddy hop over here.
Yeah,
he was
had
jumping over something.
He had to leap over his the cord that goes to his laptop.
He either had to jump over it or he tripped on it and had to jump to save it.
Yeah, well, yeah. Either way, the fact that he landed on his feet instead of his face is incredible. And he's back. And time.
All right, go.
Padres got their asses kicked yesterday in Philadelphia. They lose their fourth in a row. 9-2 was the final. They get to have a do-over today. 3:40, first pitch. Game 5 of the Stanley Cup final tonight. Panthers have a 3-1 lead over the Oilers. And the Oilers girl, Kate, she's speaking up. She's speaking out.
What'd you say?
She jumped on social media because she's getting a ton of online hate over her display of team loyalty.
I think it's a little too much online love, to be honest.
Well, she's getting a lot of hate. So she told everybody to go F themselves.
I'm going.
And I'm here for it.
Yeah,
She said, so what? I got drunk and showed my blah and F off.
Yeah, that was basically it. Which I agree with.
Yeah,
In the
honestly,
NBA.
I'm Team Kate. on this one. I'm Team Kate. I'm Team Oilers. So out of breath.
It's over in the NBA. Grab the A1 steak sauce because it's done. After exactly 16 years, the Larry O'Brien Trophy back in Beantown. They won their 18th championship, guys. The Boston Celtics.
You're doing so good.
They danced all over Dallas in Game 5 of the NBA Finals. In fact, they Boston Nova the Mavs 106-88.
That was a good one.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow.
Any WNBA scores?
I didn't look. There was probably 2 games. I think there's only 8 teams. I really know.
Actually, to the credit, before we hit 4 corners, we do it every single Tuesday. To the credit of the WNBA on the network, on Fox Sports Radio, over the weekends, I do 2 national shows, once with Jared Smith and Brian Noe on Saturdays, and I do one with Steve Hartman, and that's both of those are aired here on 760 when there isn't counter programming. The crazy thing about it is we get WNBA updates. Like, so when we go to the sports update desk, never before in the history of my time working at the network have they ever updated us on WNBA scores. And we do, I mean, it's a part of the world now.
Then the Caitlin Clark effect is working.
Yeah.
I mean, so as much as if anybody wants to tout, oh, the numbers aren't there, they don't match up to the NBA, that is all correct. However, the needle's moving, or at least it moved.
The needle has moved, and Caitlin Clark is a big part of it. Look, as much as people don't like her, Angel Reese leaning in and playing the villain, she was literally wearing basketball shoes in that game against the Indiana Fever that had the Joker on them.
Yeah.
Like, she knows what she's doing, and she's trying to create controversy and headlines. And obviously, they're going to guard Caitlin Clark. All teams are going to guard Caitlin Clark a little bit tighter, and they're going to try to have success against her because it's the bigger headline. But anyways, yeah, just thought I should mention that. And now we turn our attention to the Four Corners news desk.
Wow.
Without John Fink.
Yeah, no John Fink today. He's out sick.
He's on the IR.
He's on the IR. So hopefully he's back very soon. We miss John Fink, but the stories you need to know, you didn't need to know.
That's exactly correct.
From the Four Corners
I don't
news
think that's
desk.
how that works.
Yeah.
The stories you didn't need to.
You didn't know you needed to know.
That's what
You
it was.
didn't know you needed to know.
I'm John Fink.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, we go through the 4 corners of the map and we bring you the best stories, most relevant stories, most interesting stories we can. Like
Post Malone, apparently a tattoo artist.
Okay.
So you know Steve-O from Jackass?
Yep.
He let Post Malone tattoo his face.
What did he put on his face?
Some man parts.
Oh,
right above his right eyebrow.
I thought that was in celebration of the Nathan's hot dog eating contest.
Yeah,
I mean, could be, but this is a real triumphant one.
I'm gonna say that's more of a that would be more of a shrimp than a hot dog. And also, by
I
the
don't know
way,
how to describe this, but
would you say those are teardrops?
those do resemble teardrops. What were they thinking on this?
Steve-O is the king of the 15 minutes of fame.
So he wanted to start his clock again?
Dude, what's crazy is Steve-O is actually a very talented guy. What I mean by that is he does these bits, or he has these moments where everybody's talking about Steve-O and then he disappears for a little bit. And then everybody's talking about Steve-O and then he disappears a little bit. Steve-O is actually a pretty talented stand-up comic. He sort of weaves in his life as a jackass stuntman with, funny stories from the road. I've seen some of it. It's pretty good. But Steve-O, yeah, he has a right above his eyebrow. How would you describe that?
I mean, yeah,
it looks like a toilet bowl handle. Just one of the flushers.
Really does.
Yeah,
it really does.
Yeah.
Very, very nice from Post Malone. This mummy that was unearthed apparently has some ties with the Simpsons here. I'm trying to find the mummy's name that they found here. They unearthed the new mummy. The painting on the sarcophagus.
The container in which the mummy's inside.
Can't get these pictures to come up. It's Marge Simpson.
No.
It does look like her.
It is completely Marge Simpson.
No.
From the green dress to the blue hair
to the yellow skin.
How did the Simpsons keep doing this?
I don't get it.
That
That is Marge Simpson.
I'm going to say something in your guys' ear.
Okay.
Yeah, let's hear
All
it.
right.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Right. Right.
That's a good line.
Rereading lyrics to
Yeah.
us.
That
That was straight off the dome.
You filed that away forever?
that one you're gonna just keep up there. If I
It's
go,
wow.
and I
It's from
look
the
at
song
your,
Monster.
If I go to your computer, it's not on your computer.
I swear to God,
Okay.
no.
All right.
Huh.
Very good. Very good.
So we do something over on 101.5 KGB in the afternoons on Monday. We call it My Generation Mondays because we have 3 generations of hosts here. I'm
That's right.
Generation X. You are Generation Y. Fletch, Rich, Generation Y. Fletch, Generation Z.
Sorry about that, by the way.
So apparently Gen Z, there's a new obsession for Gen Z women,
That's right.
and that's designer lady part surgery.
Okay. Yeah. So
Okay.
it's one of the fastest growing cosmetic procedures among young people in Australia and worldwide. The surgery known as labiaplasty. It involves alterations. Let's put it this way: if you wanted to compare it to like
You know how people go, I make me look like Brad Pitt.
right,
Yeah.
right,
Right. So they see someone's lady parts, maybe on a adult film,
okay,
and then they take that photo to the plastic surgeon and said, I want mine to look like hers.
okay,
Yeah, I'm out on my generation. I don't want to be associated with them anymore. I'd like to be a millennial. I'm right on the cusp, anyways. Like I think I'm the cutoff. I don't want to be Gen Z anymore.
I'll tell you right now, like, you know what? This is completely unrelated to this story. I'm just gonna describe, something else. Like when I go to a deli and I order like a sub, like a Subway sandwich, right?
Yes.
Sometimes when you're at a Subway,
Tread lightly.
sometimes when you're at a Subway sandwich,
Wait, are you talking?
like you,
I mean,
like occasionally you have
Next story, TV.
you got tomato slices, and you've got I don't know, maybe a couple of slices of ham, and it's hanging over the side of the bread.
Let's talk Justin Timberlake.
I mean, are you just going to trim all that off? The answer is no. The
Style
answer is
Bender's coming back.
Absolutely not.
What's Style Bender?
Style Bender is Israel Adesanya, an excellent fighter in the UFC.
Yeah.
He's making his
yeah.
return to UFC 305.
305. Are
Take
you
it on.
excited about that as a UFC fan?
Yeah,
Oh,
tell me
big
about
time,
it, you
actually.
virgins.
What?
Oh,
What? Can we go back to the last story, or are we
Adesanya-
worried about getting in trouble?
so here's the thing: Adesanya lost to Sean
Copyright
Strickland
infringement.
in an excellent. I don't want to say that was 301, but now he's back.
Yeah, he's been apparently MIA for a year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, it wasn't that long ago that he fought Sean Strickland and lost. It wasn't a year.
Just going off what the story said. You're the UFC guy.
Yeah. It says former middleweight champion Israel Adesanya was announced Monday that he would fight champion Drew Duplessis. Am I pronouncing that correct?
It's Duplessis.
Duplessis. Yeah, the middleweight belt is on the line August 17th from Perth with a P. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be the first time he's in the octagon for almost a full year, 343 days. So, yeah, like you said, he lost to Sean Strickland. I mean, how on the scale of returns and excitement of returns, like Conor McGregor, Israel Adesanya, who are you more excited to see return to octagon?
Adesanya is a way better fighter at this point than Conor McGregor will ever be ever again. You know what I mean? But it's like Conor McGregor returning would get more eyeballs to the screen. Israel Adesanya, watching him fight is special. Like his nickname is Style Bender because he's like mixing in different types of MMA and different types of karate, jiu-jitsu, whatever. But he knocks people the F out in a really fun fashion. And the reason the Sean Strickland Israel Adesanya fight was as popular as it was is because both of them do that.
By the way, so apparently, and I didn't know this, he pleaded guilty to drunk driving 15 days before his last fight against Strickland. And he went on to a podcast and said, I'm going to take time to look after myself. This was back in October of 2023. Guess what podcast he was on?
Probably Two Bears in One Cave.
No.
He's close with Segura. He's also close with Theo Vaughn.
He was on a episode of The Rock podcast. Now, my question is that like The Rock?
The Rock?
Like the
I didn't know
former
he had a
professional
podcast.
wrestler? Or is that somebody else? I got to look at this.
Click on that.
Adesanya's buddies with the comedians, Burt Kreischer, Theo Vaughn.
Oh no, this is New Zealand's biggest rock radio station,
Oh.
home of Raj, Bryce, Moles, and Mel. Okay, never mind.
Feels like a copyright infringement.
The Rock podcast. I mean, I assume Dwayne Johnson was just like, all right, Israel, let's talk about it.
Speaking of drunk
Eyebrow
driving,
raised. Yeah, what do you got?
Justin Timberlake was on his way to the Hamptons, got pulled over, arrested for drunk driving.
Come on, JT.
Now, the stories, as you click through them here, they show his wife, Jessica Biel, who was on set filming while he was being arrested. And Jessica Biel dressed in, I don't know, Renaissance garb. Okay. So, in fact, there's some guy with chainmail who's getting way too close to Jessica Biel.
Oh, boy.
But my question is while they're filming here in the Renaissance garb, why does she have a watch on?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Is that Breitling period specific?
Yeah.
Did they have Rolex
What is
in
going on?
the 1600s?
Maybe it's just a bracelet.
Yeah, it could be. Here's the other funny thing. I pray, and I'm not sure if it's true. Justin Timberlake, was he going to be in the movie with Beal?
I don't know.
Because I pray that he was also in medieval garb.
He's in chainmail. He's like arrested.
He's wearing like one of those night helmets, and they're just like, listen, buddy. I mean, you could barely see him. That thing is like, pull me over. I think I'm driving. You can't drive on the left side of the road here. This is or the right side. This is not America. This is ridiculous. You're going to hear from my lawyer. I will not talk to you until my lawyer is present.
Full armor.
I've also thought this a lot. Anytime I see like a famous athlete or movie star get a DUI or a DWI, I would never drive if I had that money.
Wait, was he in a car? Was he on a bike? Because
or a horse and buggy.
I found out recently you can get a DWI on a bike.
You can?
Oh yeah.
But that's still, I mean, I guess it's a vehicle.
Yeah, you're in
a scooter, like one of the electric scooters.
Allegedly driving drunk. He was pulled over, Sag Harbor, something. I mean, driving. That's all I see.
Like if I had stupid FU money, I think one of my first purchases, well, not purchase.
Imagine on a bike in full chainmail and a night helmet.
I would hire a chef and I would hire a driver. Those two parts of my life I'm never dealing with ever again.
Why is he driving anywhere? Just have somebody do it for you. I agree with that.
Also, Jessica Biel in Renaissance garb. What are you guys in or out on corsets?
Not hating it.
Yeah.
Not hating it.
Okay.
I'm glad she's not a Gen Zer.
Right.
Want as much Jessica Biel as you could get.
Well, I mean, I suppose if Gen Zers saw Jessica Biel in full,
can't believe it, but we're out of time.
Maybe they would go, we want ours to look
Rich
like
looks
that.
so skinny.
Well, but hang on a second. If you're going to trim off parts, you may think, hey, that's a great way to lose weight. But as it turns out, it's not.
No,
it's not at all.
That's one of those fad diets.
Yeah, dude. And we know those don't work.
No. Because once you trim the weight off,
that's right.
It's gonna come right back.
Let's pray at least. In that case. But honestly, if you're looking to lose a little weight around beach season, we get it. Look, for the first time, you're probably going back through the old bathing suits that you wore last year, and you're like, "Oh, these are a little tighter than I remember." Well, yeah, it's because you did the same thing last year, right? You made promises you're going to get in beach shape. It took you all the way until the end of the summer to do so. And then you bought all those bathing suits right at the end of the summer because you felt your body looked the best. And guess what? You can't fit in them again. Well, lose weight fast with SDFatLoss.com. We all lost a ton of weight really quickly. So in the first week, I lost 14 pounds. That's not a lie. I remember calling Chloe and saying, is it okay that I'm losing this much weight? And she goes, yeah. She was like, trust me, yeah, you have a long way to go. And so I was like, oh, thanks, Chloe. No, I'm kidding. She was very kind with me. And so was Wayne, our weight loss team over at SDFatLoss.com. I lost a ton of weight really quickly. And then I continued. After the first month when I got on the scale, I was down over 35 pounds. I've sustained that weight loss. Fletch is down over 50. TD is down over 30. If you want to lose weight, there's a natural way. There's an easy way without exercise, without counting points, without drinking gross protein shakes, without any injections, none of these fad diets that you hear about and then they go away because there's health risks. This is the right way to do it. SDFatLoss.com. You mentioned the show name, Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. You save $200 on your subscription.
This update's presented by the Jim Patrol Real Estate Team. Boston Celtics are the 2024 NBA champs. They beat the Mavericks 4-1. Padres have now lost 4 straight games. They got more baseball coming up today. Dodgers star Mookie Betts out 6 to 8 weeks with that broken hand, and Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final is tonight. Panthers 3-1 over the Oilers. Would you like to know what your home would sell for today? Get a simple text message with your home's value by texting your address to 855-600-6000. You'll get no phone call, just a text. Jim Patrol has the buyer. Simply text your address to 855-600-6000.
Big Rich and Fletch, San Diego Sports 760. Forgot it was my turn.
Not a Batman fan from.
No, I love Batman.
Well, hang on.
No,
hang
no,
on.
no.
From 1989, Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
You didn't like that Batman?
Is that the one where Jack Nicholson?
Jack Nicholson.
Son.
Nicholson is the Joker?
That's correct.
He was
That's
a
the
great
one.
Joker.
And Michael Keaton was a fantastic Batman.
Those movies are just kind of dumb. Like, they're not. No, I can admit, like, understand why people love them. I just
Okay.
think they're kind of goofy. Like, I don't think they fit with Batman as he should be portrayed.
This is
Well, but
definitely.
because you like the Dark Knight Batman.
This is a generational thing. He cut his teeth on the Dark Knight, Christopher Nolan.
Like, real gritty.
Brooding, dark, very real, or I should say more realistic Batman character. Whereas I'm telling you right now, Michael Keaton for me still is Batman.
Easy.
Well, and then the
hands
Adam
down.
West Batman from the TV show, it's so goofy. It's like
Yeah,
tough to watch.
But
Yeah,
hang on, hang
but
on.
that's Batman from the original DC comics. The Dark Knight came in later,
Mhm.
80s and 90s.
You mean the cool Batman?
The Dark Knight was actually a separate Batman.
That goes a little darker.
It's much darker.
Yeah.
It's like
it's
the,
more of like-
the Killing Joke time period.
What's the midnight one?
The Midnight
Yeah,
one?
there's something midnight. I can't remember.
Okay.
Well, I will say this: the Batman that Jack Nicholson was in, the original Batman, or at least the one we grew up
We
on.
can all agree that George Clooney one sucks, right?
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah,
One of the
not
worst
good.
movies
When,
ever made.
Ben Affleck.
Oh,
No,
oh my God.
Ben
Affleck's
Ben
Batman's also
unwatchable.
terrible.
That and then who most recently
Robert
played-
Pattinson. That movie is sick.
Okay.
Not
Dude,
a fan.
No,
Okay.
it was so well done.
He was great at Batman, but Bruce Wayne, why was he such a
Because it was supposed to be like
wuss? I couldn't
19,
figure out the
20-year-old Bruce Wayne who's like in a really rough time. In his
Bruce Wayne was never a wussy.
No.
No.
He
So
was like a guy who was angry and like trained his ass off away from the light of
Yeah.
day, and
So
then
no,
pretended to be
but
like this.
that-
the next movie, he's trying to like become the character that he plays when he's Bruce Wayne, like the one that Christian Bale nailed so good, the like billionaire playboy who will go out and be like super cocky. Robert Pattinson hasn't learned how to do that yet.
there's a Batman called The Longest Halloween.
I think that might
Oh,
be the
And
yeah.
midnight one I'm thinking of.
that's what
That's
actually
when
I think
Scarecrow is the main antagonist in that, right? The
mm,
longest Halloween, or
yeah, I believe you're correct.
I think so.
I think there's a Midnight in Gotham, something like that.
I think Batman is like they've had the most diversity of like good and bad because there's been great Batmans, and I'm not saying the Michael Keaton one isn't. I'm
Well,
just saying it's not for me.
Rank them. Who's the best Batman? Who's the worst Batman?
Gotham
Christian
after
Bale
midnight.
was perfection as Batman to me. I think he absolutely killed that role, and I don't know that anyone's going to do it better.
Except he was hard to understand, especially by the third movie. What did look like this the whole time?
well, maybe your hearing's just starting to go.
Where's it going? Where are they? Every time my mask is sliding down, damn it.
Why he gets angry?
I'm not mad. No,
Wait,
I mean
also
Heath
said-
Ledger also will forever be the best Joker. Like it's very different from Jack Nicholson's,
It's just-
but it's way better. The goofy
Wait, no,
takes
it's a
me out of
different
it.
Joker.
Jack Nicholson
God.
played the most menacing psychopath.
he was perfect,
Oh, dude!
but
like,
Heath Ledger took that to the next level.
Well, Heath Ledger, that was the darker Dark Knight Joker.
right. The Joker was what Jack Nicholson portrayed him as, which was like a very goofy character.
Yeah.
Like if you read the DC comics, what Jack Nicholson did with that character is he took it and brought it to life.
You know, a lot of people say neither of those two guys are actually the best Joker. It's always been Mark Hamill, the guy that played Luke Skywalker, who voices the
the
Joker.
voice, yeah.
In the,
Oh, no.
And the animated
Animated
series.
series. They say
Okay,
he's the best
The
one.
animated series
I
is
don't-
solid.
Yeah, it's good.
Hang on. Let me be very clear. The best Joker voice is Mark Hamill. Nobody does the Joker laugh like Mark Hamill. That insane maniacal laughter.
Right.
Like he crushes everybody else. However, like the best Joker was Jack Nicholson. The best Batman, I agree, was Christian Bale.
Hmm.
I think
I know way. Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton, though, I can't look at him. Like, I can look at Christian Bale and see other characters he played. Michael Keaton, in my mind, is only Batman.
Now, would you be so out
Or
on
Beetlejuice.
if they ever did like a multiverse Batman where all three
Oh
of
my
them,
God.
all four
I
of
would,
them?
oh God. I hate the multiverse. I hate the multiverse so much.
Who would you kick out?
Val Kilmer.
Oh, Val
I
Kilmer.
forgot he was even one of them.
Dude, he
Was that the
was-
Frost one?
Dude,
That was
he-
terrible.
Well, maybe George Clooney.
It was Batman and what it was. It was Batman Forever.
No, God,
Batman
it's
Forever
awful.
was Val
That was
Kilmer.
the Arnold Schwarzenegger one, right?
That was he played
Mr. Frost.
Mr.
Mr.
Freeze.
Those are so dumb.
And he would go, ha ha, freeze.
The one where Danny DeVito was
Uh,
the pelican or the
No,
penguin.
Penguin.
Also terrible.
Danny DeVito was a good penguin.
No, terrible.
He was a good penguin.
This is the
Awful.
worst take you've ever had. Danny DeVito
I
as
love
Penguin
Danny DeVito.
in
One of my
Batman
favorite actors.
Returns was inarguably one of the best supervillains. He had the line of the movie. I played this city like a harp from hell.
Yes.
I mean,
You know what I loved about the original?
Oswald Cobblepot.
Yeah, that's right.
Dude, the new penguin was pretty great. It was what's his name? Colin Farrell. He was awesome. in that.
Yeah,
Please.
I actually like
He's got his own HBO show coming
Love
out as the penguin.
Oh,
I'll
sweet.
probably watch
Way
it,
to
but
ruin
I didn't love it.
So the original Batman, the original Joker, I
Yeah.
don't know if you remember, he had a mustache, and they said, "We'd like you to shave your
yeah.
mustache," and he said, "No."
But
So
this
they just painted it white.
this was from that was from the television
The
series.
television series.
And it was a creepy ass mustache. It was like one of those like rapier thin like mustaches where he was like, I will not. It was very French. It
Yes.
was very French.
Yes, indeed.
Or-
We were going to talk Padres.
We will.
We went 10 minutes of Padres, or excuse me, 10 minutes of Batman, and we have tickets to give away.
I'm
still.
glad we can all agree George Clooney was a terrible Batman.
Well,
You-
they
yeah,
put
it was-
nipples on the suit, which was weird.
That was also what a choice. They're like, okay, listen, guys, we've revamped the bat suit, and everybody walked in and like, what is different about this? Did you guys add more abs? No, but close. Is it the cod piece? Is it larger? No.
Can you imagine if the cod piece was also completely defined?
So hang on for 1 minute, and then we're going to tell you what tickets we're giving away. But first, Prize Picks.
Yeah.
Prize
dude.
Picks is the best. It is the #1 daily fantasy sports platform on the freaking
I
continent
love
with a
that.
community of over 5 million members. Prize Picks, the most exciting way to get into all the summer sports action right now. Baseball's heating up
Prize
as we enter
Picks.
the dog days into summer.
Is the best. It's also cool. Did I mention it's awesome and also available on the App Store? Maybe the Google Play Store?
What's happening?
You can download it anytime you want. No, you're absolutely right. It is the best. It's incredible. I mean, think about all the lineups that we've won, Fletch, all the money. I mean, we're basically like Scrooge McDuck. We got all those gold coins. We're just diving in. We're doing backstroke on all the piles of cash. Prize Picks is incredible. It really is. If you want to have fun as a companion to all the sports you're going to be watching, whether it's NBA, well, that season just ended, but WNBA still going on, baseball's heating up as the summer months are here, or you want to get into something more fringe like UFC or, esports. I mean, it's popped on a power slap every once in a while. Prize Picks is there right for you.
And today you can earn 3 separate $25 protected plays on Prize Picks. I just got the notification. Enter any $10+ lineup today to qualify for them. So protected plays basically means if you lose, you get the money back in promo funds. Prize Picks is the best, man. The different promotions. Today's the Taco Tuesday, meaning there's going to be discounts all over the board coming up starting at 9:15. Fridays are Flex Fridays, meaning every entry you put in is a protected entry if you opt in. Prize Picks is the best, and get ready to enjoy the best fantasy sport app play available. Download the app today. Enter code DOGS for a first deposit match up to $100. Enter code DOGS on the Prize Picks app for a first deposit match up to $100. And Richie, say those words.
Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival is back, and it's happening September 20th and 21st at the T-Mobile Arena out in Las Vegas. Live performances by Keith Urban, New Kids on the Block, the Black Crowes, and a whole lot more. Woo! Now's your chance to buy tickets at AXS.com. Get them now before they sell out. San Diego Sports 760.
It's finger licking good.
Ow! Ah!
Ow!
Talk back, Mike.
San Diego Sports 760. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. So we have yet to give away the 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair, or have we?
We have not.
Okay.
We have not.
So
we teased we were going to, sort of. We didn't say what the tickets were for.
Then we got busy with Batman. You get it.
Right.
So listen, remember this number, 877-767-4760. Don't call now. We'll tell you when to call in just a moment for that 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair, sdfair.com for more details or to buy tickets there. But yeah, we're going to be giving away a 4-pack in just a moment. Did you guys see Jason Kelsey shotgun in that beer?
Yeah. I mean, he knows how to play golf.
Yeah, listen, I've said this once, I'll say it a million times more. When you're on a golf course, it really should be like the golf is interrupting like a nice day outside, or the golf is interrupting like copious amounts of partying with your friends. Like,
dude, it's a 4-hour walk party that you have to occasionally hit a ball in.
Yeah, dude. I mean, especially Fletch right now. He's
still
still recovering.
Walk party?
It's a
Yeah,
walk,
walk
party. It's a walking party, or rolling, or
Yeah.
in this case,
What?
driving.
We have carts. We have carts on Friday, right?
Will not be walking. If they want us to walk, we will not be golfing. We will be drinking.
Did you say no? We don't have carts?
We have cards.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
Man,
damn right we
I was
do.
about to get sick.
Yeah,
I was about to
either-
step on an acorn.
Either that, or they're about to see a 4Runner and a Tacoma on the course.
Or they're going to see TD walking around with his digging spoon.
Or it
How
takes.
many times would you puke if you had to walk?
Oh, dude. I mean, countless.
Well, just walking? Nah, I'd make it.
Walking and carrying your club? I mean, come on.
I wouldn't carry the clubs. I don't need them.
Can I ask this question? How do news items like this get picked up by like TMZ? Like, who's talking?
Yeah, I don't know.
Giselle Bundchen and Joaquin Volante on Father's Day, they got the kids.
Okay, well, we were just told they broke up because of Tom Brady, because she couldn't hang with the roast. So she'd ghosted Joaquin since April 28th. Apparently not, because they were getting friendly on Father's Day.
Yeah, they were paddleboarding. Benjamin and Vivian Brady were with Joaquin, who I'm guessing is like a stepdad.
Meanwhile, Tom, dad, he was in the booth.
He's in the booth.
He was calling games.
He was busy.
Oh, yeah, he
He
was
was
at
getting-
the UFL Championship.
He was getting
which,
booed.
did you see who the defensive MVP was?
Yeah, Keava Tizino.
Chiava Tizino, the monster of the Mesa. He had like 2 forced fumbles, 9 tackles in this
Yeah.
one game.
Dude, he's I'm so glad that they have spring pro football. I understand not a lot of people watch it, but it's a great opportunity for a lot of these players. Fletch, who do we thank?
You guys, the roadies, the dogs, the hangers, the bangers.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay, call in at exactly 8:57 for the SD County Fair tickets. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll be on 101.5 KGB coming up at 3. The Herd is next.